Chapter 891, A Dish of Pills. Everyone and the demonic beasts kept up the attacks for a full 10 days. Although there were ripples on the barrier, there were no signs of cracks. However, everyone had little spiritual power left. Although they could take turns to rest, they had been using up their spiritual power faster than the rate at which they could recover. Everyone was a little discouraged. After all, this was an ancient formation. How could it be so easy to break the barrier? Previously, in the ancient sword tomb, it was because the rune spirit had fallen for Yunchujia's trick. That was why they had taken advantage of it. This time, they were afraid that they would not be able to escape using the same method. Everyone, don't be discouraged. Take out all the spirit-gathering pills and explosive spirit pills in your storage rings and consume them. If there are any medicinal herbs, pass them to me and a few alchemists. We will immediately start refining pills for you. You must persevere, or else all your previous efforts will be wasted. The spring breeze blows and the war drums beat. Who have we ever been afraid of? Everyone, charge! Yunchujio took out a small pink veil and waved it vigorously. Everyone and the other beasts were immediately energized by Yunchujia's words. They swallowed the medicinal pills one by one. Moreover, there was no distinction between humans and beasts now. While they ate, they also tossed some food to the demonic beasts, and the crowd began a new round of attacks. Yunchujio and the other alchemists began to refine more explosive spirit pills. She did not use the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace. Instead, she took out an alchemy furnace that she usually used in her sect and began to refine the explosive spirit pills. Then, the so-called high-level alchemists of the Azure Mystic Continent were dumbfounded. They saw that Yunchujio could refine a batch of explosive spirit pills in less than 15 minutes. Moreover, all of them had a 100% success rate. What was even more abnormal was that 10 of them were all super-grade explosive spirit pills. Elder Qi had always suspected that Yunchujio had been hiding her strength so that he would not lose face. At this moment, he was even more convinced of this idea. This little girl's talent in refining pills was simply too shocking. Yunchujio used the corner of her eyes to sweep across the dumbfounded crowd. She hurriedly said, "Everyone, don't just stand there. Hurry up and refine the pills. Whether or not we can break through the enchantment will depend on us." Only then did the crowd come back to their senses and resumed refining the pills. Although they were not as abnormal as Yunchujio, they were still the top alchemists of the Azure Mystic Continent. Soon, a large batch of explosive spirit pills appeared on the ground. However, something seemed strange. They were placed on big dishes by Yunchujio. Those alchemists were dumbfounded. When had they ever used the big dishes to hold the pills? At the very least, they had used a gourd to hold it. It was an eye-opener for them. Yunchujio said with conviction, "It's convenient for them to use their hands to hold it in a bowl. Moreover, it's intuitive. You can see the number of pills refined at a glance." Another 10 days passed. Cracks began to appear in the enchantment, but it was not large enough to let these people and demonic beasts out. Yunchujio began to think again. She waved her pink veil and shouted, "The dawn of victory beckons to us. This is the moment of darkness before dawn. As long as we persevere, victory will definitely belong to us. Do you guys want to have a good meal? Do you guys want to have a good sleep? As long as we persevere for another 3 days, the enchantment will definitely break. I have high hopes for you guys." Sleeping was now an attractive prospect to everyone and the beasts. They only had a short period of time to take turns to rest for the past few days. They had suffered from a serious lack of sleep, and now they were completely relying on their spiritual essence to support themselves. With Yunchujia's bluff, everyone persisted for another 3 days. Although the crack had become a little bigger, it was still not enough for everyone to pass through. Yunchujio changed her strategy. Combine 2 groups into 1 group and double the strength. The enchantment will definitely be broken tomorrow. In fact, she was not sure if the enchantment could be broken the next day. However, in order to encourage them, they believed her and rushed forward again. Chapter 892, Savior Tax. The crack in the enchantment was big enough for more than a dozen people to pass through the next day. Yun Chujio smugly touched her nose. What had she said earlier? The prediction was accurate. Everyone, work harder. When the crack grows bigger, rush out according to the order of attack. Don't worry. The 5 of us will stay at the end. We will ensure that you can get out safely. Yun Chujio continued to wave the small veil and shouted. Initially, everyone felt a little uneasy when they saw that Yun Chujio, Di Biming, and the other 3 did not participate in the attack. Now that they heard Yun Chujio say this, they could not help but feel ashamed. It was a textbook definition of not judging a book by its cover. They thought that they were slacking off, but in the end, they were the ones who were going to stay behind for everyone's sake. Some took the initiative to ask the last batch to evacuate together with Yun Chujio and the others. Yun Chujio nodded in agreement and remembered all these people in her heart. These were the people who could be befriended in the future. At the critical moment, one could even see a person's true character. Another day passed. The crack was by then large enough for dozens of people to rush out together. Yun Chujio let the cultivators retreat first according to the order, and the demonic beasts were put into her spirit beast bag. She complained in his heart. The spirit beast bag that was given to me by the pretty boy seemed to have limitless capacity. It can actually continue to hold so many demonic beasts. Di Biming learned from the lesson of the ancient sword tomb and did not leave Yun Chujia's side for a moment. Shui Wuji also stayed by her side, ready to be a hero at the critical moment to save the damsel in distress. However, the evacuation was uneventful. Yun Chujio and the last group of people also safely withdrew from the enchantment. When the cultivators who went ahead saw Yun Chujio and the others exit the barrier, they immediately cheered. At that time, it was already evening outside. The sunset glow in the sky was particularly gorgeous. When everyone saw the beautiful scene in front of them, they felt as if a lifetime had passed. Those cultivators thanked Yun Chujio in droves. Some of them even had red eyes. They would have hugged Yun Chujia's thigh and howl were it was not for the fact they would get in trouble for doing that to a woman. Before Yun Chujio could say anything, Shui Wuji curled his lips and said, "You should at least be sincere in your thanks, right? My little 9th sister risked her life to save you. She has no blood relations with you, yet you have the nerve to say a few words of thanks and it's over. Do you think it's appropriate for you to let my little 9th sister enter such a perilous place and return empty-handed? Do you think you can live with your conscience if you go back like this? Aren't you afraid that you would be haunted by guilt in the future? Don't you know what my little 9th sister likes the most? Spirit stones, spirit tools, spirit herbs, anything is fine. My little 9th sister is just too shy to accept them. I'll keep them for her. Come on everyone. I guess you're tired too. After you give your thanks, you can go to sleep. Brother Wu Ji. How can you say that? You are trying to repay us with kindness. That is not right. Everyone, don't listen to my brother. I have never asked for anything in return when I do good things. You don't have to feel guilty. Although I feel a little regretful that I didn't pick any spirit herbs, and although I almost died in there and suffered some psychological damage, you really don't have to give me any thanks. You really don't have to give me any spirit tools, spirit herbs, or spirit stones. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Everyone was speechless. Do you think we are all fools? You two are playing good cop, bad cop. This is a trick to get something. However, everyone did not object. How much was life worth? Life was priceless. Not to mention that the little girl only wanted a small token of appreciation, even if she wanted all of their wealth, they would give it to her. Chapter 893, shameless and invincible, everyone took out their gifts one after another. Spirit stones, spirit herbs, and spirit tools swooshed into Yun Chujia's storage ring. Although Yun Chujio said she did not want them, she did not reject them either and kept them all in her storage ring. Aya, you guys are too polite. Just give us 18 million spirit stones, 180 earth-rank high-grade spirit herbs, or 10 spirit tools. There's really no need to give us more. The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Didn't you just say you were rejecting our gifts? How is this a rejection of us giving you too little? You greedy little girl. Yun Chujio looked at the pile of gifts that were growing rapidly in her storage ring. Her heart was very still, but her eyelashes bloomed with joy. TSK, seems I've made a small fortune again. How satisfying. Yun Chujio released the high-grade demonic beasts from the spirit beast bag and asked for their wishes. Most of them were willing to let Yun Chujio send them to a suitable location. A small portion of them directly jumped into the valley nearby. Everyone discussed what to do next for a moment. In the past few days, their consumption of spiritual power and physical strength was too severe. They decided to rest there for 2 days before returning to their respective sections. With everyone gathered together, they could take turns being on guard. This was also safer to avoid any accidents. Right now, these people were left with less than a tenth of their spiritual energy. If they went off alone and encountered people from the godly devil hall, they were as good as dead. Yun Chujio and Di Baiming fared better. After all, they only acted at the last moment. Although Yun Chujio had refined a lot of pills, she was too monstrous. She was fine. The next morning, she was already alive and kicking and took the initiative to request to be on guard duty. Those cultivators wished that they could sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, I think the time for a confrontation with the godly devil hall is approaching. However, their secret technique is too strange. If we can't break the secret teleportation technique, it will be really difficult for us to finish them off. Think about it. If they can't beat us, they just run. We will be too passive. Yun Chujio held a spirit fruit in her hand as she leaned back on the recliner and said with a frown. That's right. Moreover, we have only seen 2 secret techniques of the red spider lily. Their power is so astonishing. Perhaps there are other secret techniques. I'm afraid it won't be easy to eliminate the godly devil hall. Di Baiming frowned, this godly devil hall is too strange. Moreover, I'm afraid we've only seen the tip of the iceberg. Xue Wuji sighed. Little Sister Jiu, it's a pity that our cultivators from the Tianyuan continent are not only limited in spiritual power but also punished by heaven for killing people. Even if we want to help you, there is a limit. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, evil cannot prevail over good. Moreover, since the godly devil hall has been lurking in the dark, it means that they must have a weakness. Either they are short-handed or the master is also limited in his spiritual power. In short, the cultivators of the Azure Mystic Continent have the geographical advantage, and we will win sooner or later. Yun Chujia's tone was firm, her eyes shone with confidence. Little Sister Jiu, I admire your optimistic personality. How do you do it? Xue Wuji asked curiously. It's very simple. Brother Wuji, have you heard of a saying? Xue Wuji picked up a teacup and asked, what is it? Yun Chujio said slowly, a tree without skin will die without a doubt. A man with thick skin is invincible in the world. Pfft. Xue Wuji, who was drinking tea, immediately spat it out. Fortunately, Yun Chujio reacted quickly and jumped to the side. Otherwise, she would have bathed in tea. Chapter 894, The Fall of the 3 Sects. Little Sister Jiu, I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to say that. I'm surprised, but what you said makes sense. I've always thought about how much is face worth. It's only true if you get something in return, Xue Wuji said with a smile. Brother Wuji, you're right. Let others say what they want to say. It's not like they have a lot to offer anyway. When you're much stronger than them, they'll naturally shut up. Just like before, many people said that I'm trash, I'm ugly, and so on. I didn't even bother to pay attention to them because I know that a talented, city-toppling fairy like me will shine sooner or later. Yun Chujio said proudly. Anfeng stood at the side, the corners of his eyes slightly twitching. Miss Jiu, I admit that what you said is true, but is it really good for you to praise yourself like this? At that moment, the voice transmission talisman in Anfeng's storage ring started to vibrate. After Anfeng used his divine sense to read the message, his face instantly turned pale. Your Majesty, Miss Jiu. Something happened. The leader of the Heavenly Gate sect, Du Gai, had joined the Godly Devil Hall. The Godly Devil Hall has started to attack the other three great sects with the Heavenly Gates sect as its base. The Bixiao Palace and the Skyblade sect have been taken over by the Godly Devil Hall because a spy was working for them. The survivors have all gathered at the Spirit Radiance sect, which was barely able to maintain itself with the protection of the sect's great array. In addition, the Godly Devil Hall has captured all the civilians in the cities near the four great sections. They probably want to set up an evil array. Although the Yun Mansion is protected by the secret guards and the Thunder sect's people, but, Anfeng could not continue. Yun Chujia's heart froze. But what? But, just last night, a mysterious woman from the Godly Devil Hall came. Her spiritual power was extremely high, and she used the secret technique of the Red Spider Lily to capture Old Master Yun. She also left a message saying that she will meet you in front of the Spirit Radiance sect's main gate in half a month and asks you to exchange his life for your own. Yun Chujia's head buzzed. She recalled what Yun Xiaotian had said before, and she felt extremely regretful. She should have let her grandfather and the others enter the Spirit Radiance sect at that time. Even though the secret guards and the Thunder sect's people had high spiritual power, the secret techniques of the Godly Devil Hall were too unpredictable, and it was simply impossible to guard against them. Little Jiu, you don't have to worry too much. Since they used Old Master Yun to threaten you, they won't do anything to Old Master Yun for the time being. Di Baiming comforted her. That's right, little sister Little Jiu. There's still me. At most, they'll be struck by a few heavenly lightning bolts. Big brother can handle it. Shui Wuji saw Yun Chujia's small face filled with self-blame and worry, and his heart ached. Prince Charming, Brother Wuji, you don't have to worry about me. Let's return immediately. The Godly Devil Hall. I don't care if it's a god or a devil. If it dares to provoke my family, I'll send them to hell. Yun Chujia's small face was full of determination, there seemed to be two small flames burning in her eyes. If you dare to touch my grandfather, I will destroy you. After Yun Chujio woke everyone up, she told them what had happened. Everyone immediately became confused. What? The Bixiao Palace and the Skyblade sect were both conquered. Those are sects with 10,000 years of history. How could they be conquered just like that? The members of the Heavenly Gates sect were especially confused. They could not believe their ears. The entirety of the Heavenly Gates sect had joined the Godly Devil Hall. How was this possible? Even if Du Gai couldn't figure it out, weren't there other elders? They just let Du Gai do whatever he wanted. Chapter 895, I am Little Ancestor Yun of the Spirit Radiance sect. Everyone, calm down and listen to me for a moment. Yun Chujio leaped onto a huge rock and shouted at everyone. At that moment, Yun Chujio was someone everyone highly looked up to. Hearing her words, everyone's discussion gradually quieted down, and they all looked towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio did not speak immediately. Instead, she released all the demonic beasts in the spirit beast pouch, then, she said with a cold expression, we once discovered an evil formation of the Godly Devil Hall in Longping Mountain. Its methods were cruel and the scene was so horrific that it made one's hair stand on end. Tens of thousands of demonic beasts were chained to the ground or suspended in the air. Their blood and vitality flowed into the evil formation of the godly devil hall, and that evil formation was used to search for the eye of the earth. Now that the godly devil hall had captured the citizens of several cities, it will probably be used for the evil formation again. The godly devil hall's ultimate goal is this: to find the eye of the earth and then absorb all the chi in the eye of the earth. At that time, our azure mystic continent would then become a secular land without any spiritual chi. At that time, whether it was humans or demon beasts, the path of longevity would be lost. The godly devil hall is not my enemy alone, nor is it just the enemy of the four great sections. They are the enemies of the entire azure mystic continent. It was true that the godly devil hall had a mysterious background and even possess a strange secret technique of the red spider lily. However, I, Yun Chujio, firmly believe in one truth, that evil cannot prevail over good. As long as we are united, we can definitely drive this so-called godly devil hall out of the azure mystic continent or destroy completely it. Everyone, whether it was for our own great path of immortality, or the lives of our relatives, friends, and future generations, we only have one choice now, and that is to unite as one. Regardless of whether we are humans or demonic beasts, regardless of whether we are men, women, or young, we must all contribute our strength to protect our home. Why is there still hot blood flowing in our bodies? Because that is our inextinguishable fighting spirit. Even the ancient enchantment could not hold us, and even the shackles of the Tian Dao could not make us lose our desire to obtain immortality. What else can stop us from protecting our home? Now, the godly devil hall forces have already begun moving to make their evil plan come true. We must eliminate them before they completely gain a foothold and return the azure mystic continent to a bright and peaceful state, instead of living under the shadow of death forever. I, Yun Chujio, swear on my life that I will not rest until the godly devil hall is destroyed. If everyone trusts me, then follow me back to the Spirit Radiance sect and destroy the godly devil hall in one fell swoop after meeting up with the survivors. In addition, my other identity has never been announced. I am not the personal disciple of Elder Sun Buzhong of the Spirit Radiance sect. I am the personal disciple of Patriarch Linghua of the Spirit Radiance sect, which is also the first generation of disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect. Xianyuan Chongkong and the others call me Little Ancestor Yun. This is also the reason why my position in the Spirit Radiance sect is so special. It is also the reason why I would rather risk my life to save all of you. It is because I have a responsibility and a mission on my shoulders. Now, I will take this ninth heaven silver dragon wind fire rod that my master left me and lead all of you back to the Spirit Radiance sect. After everyone and the beasts heard Yun Chujio's words, they immediately felt the blood in their bodies boil. There was only one thought in their minds, and that was to destroy the godly devil hall. They would not let them destroy the azure mystic continent. The disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect knelt on the ground. The disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect greet Little Ancestor Yun. Chapter 896, Submission. These elders of the Spirit Radiance sect actually felt that having such a small ancestor was too embarrassing. At that moment, they were incomparably grateful that they had one in Yun Chujio. Not only had she saved the Spirit Radiance sect from danger several times, but now that the azure mystic continent was in danger, she was the one to step forward. Just as Yun Chujio had said back then, there would come a day when the Spirit Radiance sect would be proud of her. At that moment, not only was she the pride of our Spirit Radiance sect, but she was also the pride of the entire azure mystic continent. The young girl on the tall rock no longer had her usual cheeky personality. Instead, she exuded an awe-inspiring aura, a conviction that she would win, causing people to involuntarily submit to her and trust her. The numerous demon beasts raised their heads and roared, kneeling in front of her to represent their submission. It was true that they were high-level demon beasts, and some of them had even higher spiritual power than Yun Chujio. However, at that moment, they were willing to follow this young girl, fighting side by side with the humans to protect their home. Many cultivators were affected by the majestic atmosphere and could not help but kneel. At that moment, in their eyes, they had already forgotten about Yunchujia's age. Saving their lives twice, having a shocking talent for cultivation, unparalleled intelligence, and being the personal disciple of Patriarch Linghua were enough to make up for the lack of age. They were willing to accept the young girl's command, and they were also extremely confident that she would lead them to take back their home. Di Baiming stood at the side and looked at the girl who was like the god of war. His heart was filled with tenderness and pride. He had never seen little Jiao like this before, but it made him even more moved. It made him willing to protect her. Shui Wuji's heart was also filled with awe. He felt like his heart was about to stop beating. How could he not be moved by such a girl? Secret Agent Huahua looked at her young master's infatuation and sighed inwardly. That's right, how could such a woman not move his heart? Her beautiful appearance would fade with time, but this boldness, this calmness, and this sense of responsibility transcended both age and gender. As time passed, the young master would probably be unable to extricate himself. Anfeng was also deeply moved. He could only say that his young master had a unique eye. Thinking back to that little black trash back then, who would have thought that in less than 3 years, she would bloom with such brilliance? If the palace mistress saw this scene unfold, would she change her opinion of the ninth miss? Although the ninth miss was still unable to compare with the other young ladies of the Tianyuan continent, she would sooner or later become the most dazzling existence in the Tianyuan continent. No one was more suitable than her to stand beside His Excellency. Yun Chujio looked at the cultivators and demonic beasts kneeling on the ground, and with a firm expression, she said, "Everyone, thank you for your trust in me, Yun Chujio. As long as you give me time, I will definitely give you a bright future. Now, those who heard my name, stand by my right hand. I have other arrangements for you. The rest of you, stand by." Seeing Yun Chujia's calmness and maturity that did not match her age, everyone felt even more confident in their hearts and nodded in agreement. Spirit Radiance Sects Zhou Zhandong, Zhao Rui, Chao Bin, He Hongwen. Heavenly Gates Sects Zhang Lingbai, Mu Yan, Gu Feng, Chu Yufeng. Skyblade Sects Shi Yenyu, Yi Zhanli, Situ Tsangyu, Ling Hao. Bixiao Palaces Shengguanyu, Bai Muying, Lu Yushuang, Zhao Yuping. Seven Star Sword Sects Bai Chen, Luo Wenba, Flying Tiger Villas Yu Hongwen. Yun Chujio read out the names of over 100 people in one breath. Everyone was shocked. How did Yun Chujio know the names of these people? It was fine if she knew those from the Spirit Radiance sect, but a large majority of the names were not. How did she know the names of the others, especially the itinerant cultivators? Chapter 897, A Proclamation of Battle. The people that Yun Chujio called out were the last batch of cultivators who voluntarily stayed behind with her group. Yun Chujio took note of their names and remembered them after hearing them once. The hundreds of people whose names were called out were ushered to the side by Yun Chujio. After Yun Chujio activated an isolation array, she said to everyone, "Everyone, the reason why I called out your names is firstly because your spiritual power is among the best among the people here. Secondly, after a period of observation, I completely trust your character. Therefore, I am more assured when I will leave the next task to you." Before Yun Chujio mentioned the task, she first put on a high hat for everyone. Everyone immediately felt a sense of honor and pride, and they straightened their backs. 5 of you will form a group. Each group will be responsible for an area. You have 2 missions. The first is to investigate the other strongholds of the Godly Devil Hall. The second is to expose the Godly Devil Hall's evils to the public. I will write a proclamation of battle later. After you post it up everywhere and make the people of the Godly Devil Hall seem like street rats. This way, someone will report their whereabouts the minute they show up. Let them have no place to hide in the Azure Mystic Continent. Don't feel regretful for not participating in the battle with the Godly Devil Hall. What you will do is as important as the battle. If complete these two tasks well, you will cut off the godly devil hall's escape route, giving them no chance to make a comeback in the future. Otherwise, even if we defeat them now, they will use secret arts to escape and secretly rebuild their forces. Therefore, the task given to you is very important. You must do your best. Yun Chujia's expression was solemn, and the aura emanating from her body made people shudder in fear. No one dared to raise any objections. Firstly, they were intimidated by Yun Chujia's aura. Secondly, what Yun Chujio said was reasonable. They had to cut off the godly devil hall's escape route. Otherwise, even if they destroyed them now, they would still strike again in the future. Seeing that no one had any objections, Yun Chujio separated them into groups and then withdrew the isolation array. Yun Chujio took out a pen and paper from her storage ring and wrote a proclamation of battle. The basic content was similar to what she had said previously. After she finished writing, she saw her own crooked handwriting and felt that she really couldn't bring herself to do it, hence, she activated the isolation array. Prince Charming, help me copy it in fancier handwriting. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched, but he still helped Yun Chujio copy the proclamation. Yun Chujio saw the article that Di Baiming wrote and then looked at her own. She decisively destroyed the one that she wrote. The difference was too fucking embarrassing. Yun Chujio shamelessly handed the article that Di Baiming wrote to everyone. Here, I just finished writing this. You guys take it and copy it. After everyone took the paper and read it, they praised it again and again. The content was not mentioned for the time being, but the writing was too good. The ink was like a hook. Vigorous and powerful. The momentum was magnificent, like a flood dragon coming out of the water. Yun Chujio neither admitted nor denied that it was her handiwork. She just smiled and did not say anything. She thought to herself, there's no difference between me and the pretty boy. What's his is mine, and what's mine is his. Therefore, praising me and praising him are all the same. After the arrangements were made, Yun Chujio waved her hands, and everyone split into their respective groups and boarded several flying spirit tools. A portion of them went on missions while the majority of them followed Yun Chujio back to the Spirit Radiance sect. When they were still 3 days away from the Spirit Radiance sect, everyone received another piece of bad news. The Spirit Radiance sect's grand array had been broken, and both sides were embroiled in a chaotic battle. Everyone turned pale from fright. The Spirit Radiance sect's grand array was the strongest among the 4 great sections. How could it be broken by the godly devil hall? Chapter 898, Traitors. At that moment, a chaotic battle was being fought at the front gates of the Spirit Radiance sect. As most of the elders of the 4 great sects had gone to the Spirit Herb Valley, the majority who remained behind were disciples. Fortunately, the spirit cultivator disciples that Yun Chujio had saved a few days ago had already returned to the sect. Otherwise, they would not have been a match for the godly devil hall. On the contrary, the spirit energy of the people from the godly devil hall was much higher. Nearly a third of them were at the level of Spirit Emperor, so their strength was already superior on paper. Xianyuan Chongkong, I advise you to join our godly devil hall if you know what's good for you. If you resist stubbornly, the Spirit Radiance sect will end up like the Bixiao Palace and the Skyblade sect, Du Gai shouted arrogantly. Master Xianyuan sneered, Du Gai, although I used to have a lot of complaints about you in the past, it's still a competition between sects after all. I thought that you knew how to tell right from wrong. I didn't expect that you were actually a spy from the godly devil hall. No wonder the godly devil hall knows about our every move. So it was you who sold us out. What's right and wrong? Humph. What are we cultivating for? Isn't it for the great Tao of immortality? I'm only at the 6th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. I might not have the chance to reach the peak of the 9th level of the Spirit Emperor realm in my lifetime. However, after taking the medicine given by the Lord, I reached the peak of the 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm in just a few months. My ascension is just around the corner. Moreover, the Lord has promised us that as long as we find the eye of the earth, we will head to the land of bliss. The spiritual energy there is 100 times denser than here. We will be able to live forever without any effort. Since that's the case, why don't I choose to submit to the Lord? Xianyuan Chongkong, a wise man submits to circumstances. This is your last chance. If you continue to be stubborn, not only will you die, but all your disciples will also die. Your spirit radiance sect will also be razed to the ground. Du Gai said sinisterly. Du Gai, for your own selfish reasons, are you going to just stand by and watch the lives of the people be destroyed? Recently, you've captured several cities' citizens as sacrifices to the evil array. That is inhumane. Inhumane. Heaven and earth are heartless and treat all living things as dogs. What's the difference between humans and demonic beasts? It's their honor to be able to contribute a little to their master. Including you, if you're captured, you'll all become the source of power for the evil array. Ha ha ha. Du Gai laughed sinisterly. His spiritual power level was 1 level higher than Master Xuanyuan's. He was very proud that his victory was imminent. You have gone mad. Master Xuanyuan's face was livid with anger. He never thought that Du Gai would say such heartless words. Gone mad? You are the one who does not know the situation. Your disciples are much more sensible than you. If it weren't for their help, how would we be able to break through your defensive formation? Ha ha ha. The veins on Master Xuanyuan's forehead bulged. When he recalled how the array had been broken, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Originally, after the members of the Skyblade sect, Bixiao Palace, and a portion of the disciples of the Heavenly Gates sect who had escaped entered the Spirit Radiance sect, Master Xianyuan had activated the protective array. It would not be a problem for him to keep it up for a while. He never expected that the Bai siblings and Yun Chu Shan would take the opportunity to inspect the array core and tamper with the array disk. Moreover, Elder Chu, who was the best at array formations in the Spirit Radiance sect, was not around. Thus, no one noticed the flaw. When the array was broken, the two sides started fighting, only then did they realize that they were the ones who had tampered with it. No wonder the three of them had a rapid increase in their spiritual power. It was from consuming the godly Devil Hall's medicinal pills. Chapter 899, Qing Si to the rescue. Du Gai and Master Xianyuan were engaged in a pitched battle. On the other end, the Bai siblings and Yun Chu Shan were seen chasing after the Yun siblings. Bai Moyu was currently at the 9th level of the Spiritual Emperor realm. Bai Moru and Yun Chu Shan were both at the 8th level of the Spiritual Master realm, while the Yun siblings were only at the 5th level of the Spiritual Master realm. As a result, they were both defeated very quickly. Yun Chu Shan, you actually betrayed the Spirit Radiance sect. You are not worthy to be a member of the Yun family. Our Yun family does not have scum like you. You are an honorless dog. Yun Chuki cursed angrily. Yun Chu Shan had a face full of ridicule. A person goes where the grass is greener. What's wrong with what I'm doing? It's you guys who let me down. What's so great about Yun Chujo? Whether it's the family head, you guys, or those idiots from the Spirit Radiance sect, they all treat her like a living treasure. I'll show you all who has the last laugh. Since you all look down on our second branch, I'll let you all die. From now on, the Yun family will belong to my grandfather. Yun Chu Shan, don't you feel guilty saying that? As the family head, what did my grandfather ever do to your branch? Whether it's the distribution of money or the exchanging of favors, what has he ever done to you? If he looked down on you, would he let you come with us to the Spirit Radiance sect? Moreover, search your conscience. At what time didn't you find trouble with little Jiu? Has little Jiu ever been calculative with you? With little Jiu's ability, it would be easy for her to kill you. I didn't expect her to care so much about family ties, but you turned out to be more of an ingrate. Yun Chou was so angry that her entire body trembled. The feeling of being betrayed by her family was really hard to accept. In the past, she only thought that she was petty and selfish, but she did not expect her to be so inhumane. Bai Moyu and Bai Moru looked at the internal strife in the Yun family, and their faces revealed a mocking expression. Although they no longer looked at the little power in Yi City, they were still very happy to see the Yun families fall from grace. They would first kill the ones here. After that, they would kill that old bastard Yun Xiaotian. Then, the Yun family would be completely wiped out. As for Yun Chuzhou, she would die sooner or later. Senior Sister Bai, stop talking nonsense with them. Let's kill them. Bai Moru took the lead and attacked Yun Chu. This bitch is getting more and more outstanding as she grows up. I have long wanted to make her lose face. Although the Yun siblings had the advantage in numbers, the difference in spiritual power was too great. They were no match for the Bai siblings and Yun Chushan. Very soon, they were easily defeated and on the brink of death. Seeing this, Feng Ming and the other two wanted to come over to help. However, they were tied down by their own opponents and had no way to escape. At that moment, Qing Si jumped over and attacked Bai Moyu. Bai Moyu snorted coldly. You're only at the 5th level of the spirit cultivator realm. You overestimate yourself. Since you want to die so badly, I'll grant you your wish. What Bai Moyu never expected was that Qing Si actually took out a talisman. After activating it, a wave of thick smoke rose into the air. While everyone's vision was affected, Qing Si took advantage of that opening and saved the Yun siblings with Feng Ming. We're insignificant to the battle here. Let's go find little Jiu. Only she can turn the tide. Qing Si changed her from her previous taciturn tone and said firmly. Then, she summoned a jet-black flying spirit tool and beckoned everyone up. The Yun siblings and Feng Ming were very surprised. Usually, they did not see Qing Si reveal herself. They did not expect that not only did she have a flying spirit tool, but a very high-end one too at that. It must be very valuable. Chapter 900, Qing Si's unique flying spirit tool. Although Feng Ming and the others were surprised, they knew that this was not the time to ask questions. Qing Si was right. Finding little Jiu was the key now. They did not know if little Jiu had managed to save the cultivators from the East Valley. If she had saved them all, then it would be enough to fight the godly Devil Hall. Because the Spirit Radiance sect was surrounded by the people from the godly Devil Hall, Beiming secret guards could not get close. Moreover, they had to protect the remaining people from the Yun residents, so they did not dare to show themselves rashly. Therefore, the people from the Spirit Radiance sect did not know that Yun Chuzhou was already on the way back. Qing Si and the others got on their flying spirit tools and flew in the direction of the Elixir Valley. At that moment, the thick smoke had dispersed. The Bai siblings and Yun Chushan immediately discovered that the Yun siblings had fled on their flying spirit tools. A woman wearing a purple mask walked up to them and shouted angrily, "Trash! Why aren't you going after them?" "Yes. Cousin Yen ran, Lord Purple Mask." Bai Moyu had just finished speaking when he changed his words under the woman's cold gaze. Under the pressure, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Su Yenran waved her hand, and a gold-masked man walked over. "Fan Zhen, bring a few people and the 3 of them to capture the people on the flying spirit tool. If that doesn't work, bring back their corpses. Those people are people that bitch Yun Chuzhou cares about. I want her to watch them die for her." "Yes. Lord." Fan Zhen summoned his flying spirit tool and led 5 silver-masked men, Bai Moyu, and the others to board the flying spirit tool and quickly chased after Qing Si and the others. Fan Zhen's flying spirit tool was also a high-end one, in addition to his superb spiritual power. He soon caught up with the flying spirit tools Qing Si and the others were on. Fan Zhen's lips curled into a sneer. Attack them from the porthole and try to force them to land, then capture them alive. That bitch Yunchujio made me suffer last time. When I catch these people, I will kill them in front of that bitch. The 5 silver-masked men and Bai Moyu attacked the flying spirit tool in front of them from the porthole. What they did not expect was that the flying spirit tool not only had a protective array but also a high-level one, so the attack did not destroy it. Fan Zhen frowned. Keep attacking. Sooner or later, its protective array will be broken. Suddenly, several wind blades shot out from the tail of the flying spirit tool in front of him, heading straight for Fan Zhen's flying spirit tool. Fan Zhen did not expect that there would be a flying spirit tool with the ability to attack in this low-level world. In a moment of carelessness, his flying spirit tool was hit by the wind blades. The flying spirit tool trembled a few times. Although it was not seriously damaged, it still slowed down. The flying spirit tool in front of them instantly pulled away from the commotion. Interesting. Looks like we're going to catch an unexpected big fish. Continue attacking but keep them alive, especially that little girl with the flying spirit tool. Fan Zhen's eyes revealed a look of greed. That little girl was no simpleton. Perhaps she would be able to get an unexpected surprise. The distance between the 2 flying spirit tools changed constantly. Whenever they were about to catch up, Qing Si would have her flying spirit tool attack. That way, they would once again pull away and gain some distance. However, after a day, Qing Si frowned and said, "My flying spirit tool won't be able to last much longer. We can either find a place to land or switch to another flying spirit tool." Chapter 901, Shi Xian's Feelings. Junior sister Qing Si, the 3 of us have flying spirit tools. Although they are not as high-end as yours, it's better than nothing. You attack them while we find a place to land. Then, well, switch to my flying spirit tool, Feng Ming said. Okay. Qing Si took the opportunity and attacked Fan Zhen's flying spirit tool with several wind blades. Then, she flew for some distance and found a large clearing. After that, Qing Si landed the flying spirit tool on the ground. Before Feng Ming could call out his flying spirit tool, Fan Zhen and the others arrived. It turned out that after they saw right through Qing Si's intention, they rode on their swords and chased after her. Humph. I advise you not to struggle while on your last legs. Our strength is far greater than yours. Don't worry, I won't take your lives for the time being. Why don't you obediently surrender? Fan Zhen said arrogantly. Bah! In your dreams. You ugly freak who has no face to see others. Yunchuki's venomous tongue was not that much weaker than Yunchuji's. You're courting death. Fan Zhen thrust a palm at Yunchuki. Yunchuki's injuries were already extensive, so she was in no position to dodge. She could only close her eyes and await her death. She never imagined that she would be pushed away by someone. Then, she heard a muffled groan. Yunchuki opened her eyes and saw that it was Shi Xian who had blocked the palm strike for her. He was sent flying over 100 feet away and spat out a mouthful of blood. Senior brother Shi Xian. Yunchuki never expected that Shi Xian would actually block the palm strike for her. She staggered over and hurriedly stuffed the heaven-grade blood coagulation pill that Yunchujio had given her into Shi Xian's mouth. Shi Xian's life hung by a thread. Thanks to the heaven-grade blood coagulation pill, he was able to keep his life. However, his injuries were still severe. Senior brother Shi Xian, why did you take the palm strike for me? Are you stupid? Yunchuki did not cry, but her eyes were red. Shi Xian did not speak. He only smiled at Yunchuki, but his hand held Yunchuki's. If Yunchuki still did not understand Shi Xian's intentions, she would have been truly dumbfounded. Her heart was filled with a bittersweet feeling. If it were not for this moment, she would have been bashful and happy. However, they were about to be sent to the underworld together despite not yet having the chance to express their true feelings. At that moment, Feng Ming and the others had already engaged in battle with Fan Zhen and the others. Yun Chuqi stuffed a few pills into Shi Xian's hands and the two of them gritted their teeth and joined the battle. The difference in strength between the two sides was huge. Very soon, Qing Si and the others were all knocked to the ground. This was because Fan Zhen wanted to capture them alive. Otherwise, they would have died long ago. Looking at the people lying on the ground that no longer had the strength to fight back, Bai Moru walked in front of Yun Chu and gave her a few tight slaps. "Bitch! You used this vixen's face to seduce my admirer. How shameless! I'll mutilate your face right now. Let's see what else you can use to seduce people." Fan Zhen knew about Bai Moru and Su Yanren's relationship, so he turned a blind eye. As long as they did not kill her, it was fine as long as she was only toying with them. Bai Moru took out a dagger and sneered as she slashed at Yun Chua's face. After thinking for a moment, she put the dagger away. "It's a waste to just cut them up like that. These 3 bitches are your reward. You guys go play with them in the forest first. When you're done, I'll destroy their faces." The silver-masked men immediately revealed lewd smiles. They had been besieging the Spirit Radiance sect for the past few days and did not have any time for play. These 3 girls were each more beautiful than the other, and they were all virgins. Things could not turn out better for them. Chapter 902, Courting Death. Yun Chuzi and the others wanted to go forward to stop them, but unfortunately, they were all heavily injured and were no match for the 5 silver-masked men. They were kicked to the ground, and Yun Chu and the other 2 were dragged by the silver-masked men into the small forest nearby. Yazi, Shi Xian, and the others' eyes were bloodshot, but there was no way to stop them. "Yun Chu Shan. If you have any conscience at all, give us a quick death. Otherwise, I will not let you off even if I become a ghost." Yun Chu shouted at the top of her lungs. Yun Chu Shan snorted coldly. "You brought this on yourselves, what does it have to do with me? You should just enjoy it wholeheartedly. Maybe if you serve the Silver-Masked Lord well, you can still keep your life. 5th sister, her heart is utterly black. What's the point of begging her? I'll leave first, we'll still be sisters in the next life." Yun Chuqi was about to bite her tongue and commit suicide. "You want to die? You can die after I'm done with you. I don't want to play with dead wood." The silver-masked man pinned down Yun Chuqi. She couldn't even speak, let alone bite her tongue and commit suicide. The other 2 silver-masked men also pinned down Yun Chu and Qing Si as they dragged them into the forest with lewd smiles. Yun Chuzi and the others struggled to get up to stop them, but they were once again kicked to the ground by Bai Moyu and the others. Bai Moyu smiled sinisterly and said, "Yun Chuzi, hasn't your Yun family always been against our Bai family? Do you think that you can turn the tables with Yun Chujiu? That's just a delusion. Your Yun family will soon cease to exist, and our Bai family will be going to the land of bliss with our master, ha ha ha. Bai Moyu. Little Jiu won't let you off. Little Jiu will avenge us." Yun Chuzi once again resented his own incompetence. Seeing that his sister was about to be trampled on by beasts, he was helpless. Bai Moyu laughed wildly. "Yun Chujiu. Humph. She has repeatedly ruined our master's plans. Do you think she can survive? However, before she dies, Yanren's sister will definitely take good care of her. Yun Chu and the others are suffering the same treatment as Yun Chujiu in the future. When that time comes, she will be begging for death." Just as Bai Moyu was spouting nonsense, he heard someone in the air say, "Kill them all. Leave none alive." Bai Moyu looked up and saw several flying spirit tools hovering in the air. There were hundreds of high-level cultivators riding their swords arriving. The one in front was a beautiful girl with a cold murderous aura that made people tremble in fear. Bai Moyu didn't recognize the girl for a moment. Bai Moru, who was next to him, shouted, "Yun Chujio. Impossible. How did that bitch Yun Chujio become so beautiful?" Fan Zhen thought to himself, what an idiot. At that time, he actually had the heart to care about looks. With so many people here, they were probably all cultivators trapped in the East Valley. It was better for him to leave while he could, or else he would not make it out alive. When Fan Zhen thought of this, he bit his index finger and was about to use the red spider lily secret art to escape. He never expected that Yun Chuzi and the others, who were already unable to fight back, would suddenly regain their strength when they saw Yun Chujio coming. The few of them jumped forward desperately and grabbed onto Fan Zhen's legs. Fan Zhen's secret art was suddenly interrupted, and in a rage, threw a wind blade toward Yun Chuzi and the others behind him. An ice dragon blocked Fan Zhen's spiritual power attack, then swung its tail and slapped Fan Zhen several feet away. Fan Zhen stood firm and wanted to use the secret art again, but there was no chance. Di Baiming and Shui Wuji's spiritual power attacks hit him like a storm, not giving him any chance to breathe. How could he even retaliate? After a few moments, he was imprisoned. Shui Wuji took out the poison from Fan Zhen's mouth, then took out his sword and cut the tendons on both his hands and feet. He smiled evilly, "Let's see how you use the so-called secret technique this time. You dare to touch my little sister's family? You're done for this time." Chapter 903, Su Yanren's secret. At that moment, Bai Moyu and the other two, as well as the 5 silver-masked men, had all been taken down. Yun Chujio first took out a pill to save Yun Chuzi and the others. Seeing that their lives were not in serious danger, she was relieved. If they were a moment too late, the consequences would be unimaginable. It seemed that she had to think of a way to improve their constitutions. Otherwise, even if they cultivated diligently, there was a limit to what they could achieve. 5th sister, 7th sister, and Qing Si, I'll leave these people to you to deal with. You can do whatever you want with them. Don't worry, with us here, they won't be able to escape even if they have wings. Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and said. Yun Chujio. You can't kill us. If you kill us, Yun Xiaotian will be as well. Bai Moru shouted. Grandfather, of course I'll save him. You're just a few lackeys, you don't have the right to negotiate with me. Cousin Yanran is the highest level purple-masked emissary in the godly devil hall. If you kill us, she won't let you off. Su Yanran. Oh, no wonder. I was wondering who had such a great enmity towards me and wanted to kill me time and time again. So it was her. Bai Moru, do you think Su Yanran would take you seriously? Your value was gone the moment the spirit radiance sect's grand array was broken. 5th sister, do it. Yun Chu slapped Bai Moru several times. Bai Moru, as a woman, I would never have used those despicable methods on you. Accept your death. Yun Chu raised her sword and slashed downwards at Bai Moru. Seeing this, Bai Moyu begged loudly, Little Jiu, for the sake of our past friendship, please spare me. I'll tell you everything I know. When Di Baiming heard the words past friendship, the chill on his body suddenly intensified. An Feng, who was beside him, shivered. He thought to himself, this Bai Moyu had just dug his grave. If you had not mentioned that sentence, perhaps you would have died a slower death. If you mentioned it, if you do not say anything about Miss Jiu, our esteemed lord will smack you to death. Past friendship. White scum, how can you be so thick-skinned? Ask yourself, have you ever shown me any kindness? Besides, what could you possibly know? Su Yanran is just another person you treated as a chess piece, how would you know anything else? No. I know something. I know Cousin Yanran's big secret. As long as you swear, if I tell you, you will let me go, and they'll tell you what it is. Bai Moyu saw that the silver-masked men were killed by Yun Chuzi and the others, and he was scared to death. Oh. A big secret? I am somewhat interested. Okay, I swear, if you tell me this secret, I will let you go. If I don't let you go, I will hit you with 5 lightning bolts from the sky. Yun Chujio said indifferently. Bai Moyu had never seen Yun Chujia's abnormal situation where she was not afraid of being struck by lightning. In the eyes of cultivators, oaths were very solemn and effective, so he believed it to be true. Therefore, he said, Cousin Yenran is not my aunt's biological flesh and blood. My aunt's biological daughter was stillborn. Coincidentally, a baby girl appeared in the bedroom. My aunt felt that this was heaven's compensation to her, so she did not investigate Cousin Yanran's background and directly raised her as her biological daughter. Yun Chujio touched her chin. Oh, this was interesting. She did not expect Su Yanran's background to be so complicated. However, it was also true. If she was just an ordinary girl, how could she gain the appreciation of the master and become the purple-masked emissary? Chapter 904, The Soul-Searching Technique, Go On. I'm not too sure about what happened after that. 3 years ago, it seemed that the master sent someone to find Cousin Yenran. Then, Cousin Yenran entered the Heavenly Gate sect, and her powers suddenly grew. She regularly gave me some pills that would increase my spiritual power, asking me to recruit several accomplices. A few days ago, when we were patrolling the array core, we acted according to Cousin Yanran's instructions and tampered with the array disk. The next day, the Spirit Radiant sect's protective array was broken. I've told you everything I know. Let me go. Bai Moyu thought to himself. As long as I can escape, sooner or later, kill this slut, and take revenge. Let you go. In your dreams. Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and pointed it at Bai Moyu's neck. Yun Chujio. You can't kill me. Aren't you afraid of breaking your oath and being struck by lightning? You'll be struck to death by lightning. Bai Moyu shouted at the top of his voice. The onlookers burst into laughter. This idiot. Little ancestor Yun struck to death by lightning. It was more like the lightning would be angered to death by her. I'm sorry, Bai Moyu. The thing I'm least afraid of is lightning. Do you know why there's always the sound of lightning at the back of the mountain? It's from them striking me repeatedly. That's why I eagerly welcome lightning strikes, you idiot. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Bai Moyu said in fear, Impossible, impossible. No one is unafraid of lightning. You must be lying to me. Quickly let me go, or else, you will suffer. Bai Moyu's words came to an abrupt end. Yun Chujio's large kitchen knife gently brushed past his neck, and Bai Moyu fell to the ground with a thud. Seeing that the Bai siblings had been killed, Yun Chushan cried bitterly and said, Little Jiu, I was wrong. Third sister was wrong. Please spare me. For the sake of our many years of friendship as sisters, please spare me. I will change my ways and become a new person. Fifth sister, seventh sister, Qing Si. Do you think we should spare her? Yun Chujio looked at Yun Chushan, who was crying bitterly, with a hint of mockery. Spare her. When we were about to be raped, she refused to kill us even when we begged her. Why should we listen to what she says? She is no longer a member of our Yun family. It's not enough for such an ingrate to die 10,000 times. Little Jiu, if you can't do it, I will. Yun Chuki said through gritted teeth. When Yun Chushan saw that there was no chance of survival, her expression became ferocious. Don't be complacent. Even if I die, you won't be able to win. The godly devil hall is not something you can contend with. Sooner or later, all of you will go to hell. The Lord will not forgive you. Yun Chushan, you don't have to worry about us. That dog shit lord will accompany you sooner or later. Die. Yun Chujio flipped her hand with her kitchen knife and Yun Chushan fell to the ground bleeding. Yun Chujio looked at Fan Zhen and then said to Di Baiming, Prince Charming, do you know how to use the soul-searching technique? With such a stubborn person, we won't be able to get anything out of him even if we interrogate him. We might as well just use the soul-searching technique. When Fan Zhen heard that the soul-searching technique was going to be used on him, his face immediately turned ashen. Once he used the soul-searching technique, he would turn into a vegetable. Then, what was the point of living? However, he could not move at all except for his eyes. There was nothing he could do even if he wanted to resist. He could only watch helplessly as Di Baiming placed his hand on Fan Zhen's Baihui acupoint. After 15 minutes, Di Baiming's hand left Fan Zhen's Baihui acupoint. Fan Zhen's eyes instantly became unfocused. It was obvious that he had become brain dead. Chapter 905, Subduing Some Demonic Beasts. Prince Charming, how is it? Is there any useful information? Yun Chujio asked anxiously. The useful information is limited. Su Yenran was the one who passed all the instructions to him. He was only in charge of implementing them. He had never met the master before and was only in charge of the area in the Endless Sea. After the silver-masked man died the last time, he was transferred here as a replacement. Di Baiming said with a frown. He had thought that they had caught a big fish, but he did not expect that it was just a lackey. The godly Devil Hall was really careful in covering up their tracks. Is there any news about grandfather and the kidnapped commoners? Senior Yun has been escorted by Su Yenran all this time. Right now, he is outside the Spirit Radiant Sect's mountain gate guarded by more than 10 golden-masked men. Those commoners are trapped in the mountain behind the Heavenly Gates sect being used as a blood source to support the evil formation. Yun Chujio thought for a moment and said, if that's the case, we will split into 2 groups. Everyone from the Heavenly Gates sect, you will lead a portion of your people to kill your way back to the Heavenly Gates sect. Right now, the Heavenly Gates sect is relatively empty, and those disciples may not have truly submitted to the godly Devil Hall. They may have been coerced by Du Gai and Su Yenran. You should try to reason with them and think of a way to turn those disciples against them and save those commoners. They'll bring the remaining people to the Spirit Radiance sect. Everyone nodded in agreement and split into 2 groups. One group headed to the Heavenly Gates sect while the other group headed to the Spirit Radiance sect. When Yun Chujio passed by the demonic beast forest, she thought for a moment and decided that it would be best to bring along some help just in case. Thus, she used her spiritual sense to speak to the strange grass, summon those high-level demonic beasts for me. I'm going to make use of them. The strange grass obediently did as she was told. The leaves curled up and emitted a scent that made the demonic beasts drool. Everyone, you guys go ahead first. I will go down and subdue some more demonic beasts. Yun Chujio shouted to the crowd through the porthole. Those people were dumbfounded. What did she mean by subjugating some more demonic beasts? Those demonic beasts from the Elixir Valley had followed us to attack the godly Devil Hall because you had saved their lives. However, the demonic beasts in the demonic beast forest were wild and hard to tame. They had no interaction with you, so why would they listen to you? Moreover, the demon beast forest was vast. How would you find those high-level demon beasts? Even if you found 8 or 10 of them, what use would that be? However, since they had already made Yun Chujio the commander, they could only do as they were told and continue to rush to the Spirit Radiance sect at full speed. A day later, they arrived in the sky above the Spirit Radiance sect. The ground was full of dead bodies. The Spirit Radiance sect's main gate had already been broken through. Elder Shao and the others' hearts tightened. Could it be that Master Xianyuan and the others were all dead? At that moment, someone noticed that the Spirit Radiance sect was shrouded in light and seemed to be engaged in an intense battle. Elder Shao looked over and saw that it was in the direction of the southern Jade Square. Everyone hurriedly flew in the direction of the southern Jade Square. When they got close, Elder Shao's heart relaxed. He saw that the entire southern Jade Square was enveloped in a layer of light, and the people from the Spirit Radiance sect inside had set up the hexagonal starlight array. Elder Shao was a bit puzzled. Although the hexagonal starlight array was a relatively powerful defensive array, it was not enough to withstand such a large-scale spiritual power attack from the godly Devil Hall. What was going on? Before they had time to think, everyone flew down from the flying spirit tool. You scoundrels, you were working with the enemy. Today is the day you die. Su Yanran did not show any signs of panic when she saw everyone arrive. She said indifferently, "Where's Yun Chuzhou?" Su Yanran, you're the last one who can ask about little ancestor Yun's whereabouts. Die. Elder Chu saw that the Spirit Radiance sect was almost in ruins. Yazis' eyes were filled with anger as he slapped his palm toward Su Yanran. Chapter 906, Ancestral Master Ling Hua's 3 Predictions, Little Ancestral Master Yun. The people of your Spirit Radiance sect are despicable. How dare you acknowledge trash as your little ancestral master? You came at the right time. It's just the right time to capture all of you in one fell swoop. Kill them. Leave no one alive. Su Yanran sidestepped Elder Chu's attack. She suddenly slammed her palm towards Elder Chu's front heart. Elder Chu was shocked. How could Su Yanran's spiritual power be so high? It looked like she had already reached the 9th level of the spiritual sovereign realm and was only a step away from ascension. Elder Chu was not a pedantic person. Seeing that he was no match for her, he hurriedly shouted, "Everyone, let's attack together. I can't deal with this Su Yanran alone." 5 more Spirit Radiance sect elders came over and surrounded Su Yanran. Su Yanran curled her lips in disdain and waved her hands. She fought everyone and gradually gained the upper hand. As Yun Chuzhou had divided the people into 3 groups, they still had far fewer forces than the people of the godly Devil Hall, and they gradually fell into a disadvantage. Seeing this, Master Xianyuan deactivated the hexagonal starlight array. The people inside also rushed out to help Elder Chu and the others fight against the people of the godly Devil Hall. Even so, they were still not a match for the godly Devil Hall. They gradually fell into a disadvantageous position, and the number of casualties increased. Su Yanran's eyes revealed a proud expression. You are already at the end of your rope. Those who know how to adapt to the situation are wise men. As long as you immediately abandon your allies and help us find the Eye of the Earth, I will spare you. Pooey. Shameless scum. Help you find the Eye of the Earth and let you destroy the Azure Mystic Continent. In your dreams. Su Yanran, don't be overconfident. When little Jiu gets here, I will take your life. Elder Chu scolded loudly. Su Yanran laughed coldly. Yun Chuzhou. I can't wait for her to get here quickly so that I can humiliate her properly. She's constantly ruining my plans. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have taken action so early. All of you suffered because of her. Today, all of you will die. As Su Yanran said this, she became more and more aggressive. Elder Chu and the others gradually lost, and wounds started piling up on their bodies. The rest of them were also forced back by the people of the godly Devil Hall. Du Gai's sword stabbed into the left shoulder of Master Xianyuan. He laughed wildly. Xianyuan Chongkong, why else are you hiding? You shrewd old man, I didn't expect that your Spirit Radiance sect had so many secrets. Unfortunately, it's useless. Today is the day you die. Master Xianyuan was extremely anxious. Those people in the square were the backbone of the Azure Mystic Continent. If they died, the Azure Mystic Continent would fall into the hands of the godly Devil Hall. No, that would not be the case. There was still little Jiu. The first prediction was that whoever could find the spirit weapon hidden underground would be his true disciple. The second prediction was that once the Spirit Radiance sect was destroyed, they could activate the protective array in the southern Jade Square. The third prediction was that his true disciple would be able to save the Spirit Radiance sect from the fire and water. The first two rules had already come true, so the last one would as well. The moment Master Shenyuan was distracted, Du Gai found a flaw and stabbed his left leg. Master Shenyuan screamed and fell to the ground. Du Gai revealed a fierce smile. He raised his sword and stabbed at Master Shenyuan. "Old man, die. Stop. Du Gai, you bastard. Stop right now." As he spoke, a fat old man rushed over from afar. Chapter 907, Sun Wuzhong comes out of closed-door cultivation. Du Gai was stunned. He raised his head to look at the fat old man. At this moment, the fat old man had already rushed up to him. "Sect Master, are you alright? What on earth is going on? How did I emerge from closed-door cultivation for 3 years to see things turn out like this? Elder Sun." Sigh. It's a long story. In short, these people are all from the Godly Devil Hall. Du Gai has already joined those villains. Now, he wants to help the Godly Devil Hall destroy the Azure Mystic Continent. Master Shenyuan explained the current situation in a few sentences. Taking advantage of the lull in fighting, he took out a medicinal pill to treat his injuries and swallowed it. The person who came was Yun Chujia's nominal master, Elder Sun Wuzhong, who had been in seclusion for 3 years. At that moment, he was already at the peak of the 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. If it wasn't for the fact that the protective array of the Spirit Radiance sect was broken, he wouldn't have been alarmed and would have spent another 2 years away before ending his seclusion. Du Gai saw that Elder Sun's level of spirit energy was the same as his, and a trace of fear appeared in his heart. This Sun Wuzhong did not hold back when he fought. I might not be able to beat him. Elder Sun had always been a person who was easily angered. When he heard Master Shenyuan say this, he immediately exploded. He raised his large saber and slashed at Du Gai. "You old man, you turned your back on others. You're fucking courting death." Du Gai did not dare to take it head-on. He jumped to the side and dodged Elder Sun's large saber. He raised his hand and several wind blades flew straight at Elder Sun. Elder Sun did not dodge at all. He slashed his saber and those wind blades instantly disappeared into the air. Du Gai's grew even more fearful. This old fart, although he was of the same level as me, my spiritual power had artificially increased after eating some pills. Naturally, I haven't gotten used to my increased spiritual power yet compared to one that cultivated naturally like him. A wise man would know he was at a disadvantage against such opponents. He shouted to the side, "Come quickly, help me deal with this old man." Hearing Du Gai's shout, 3 gold-faced emissaries immediately jumped over. They were all at the 7th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. The 4 of them surrounded Elder Sun and started to fight him. An hour later, Elder Sun could not hold on any longer. Although his spirit energy was solid, it was more than enough to deal with one opponent at Du Gai's level. Dealing with 2 was also still manageable, but 4 of them at once was too much. Master Shenyuan was already entangled by 2 golden-masked men. He could not even take care of himself, let alone try to help Sun Wuzhong. Du Gai laughed wildly. "Sun Wuzhong, you are so arrogant. Not so arrogant now, are you? You can only blame yourself for not being born at the right time. Originally, you could be considered a formidable figure, but now that you have met our Godly Devil Hall, you will die today." Elder Sun's temper was explosive, and he did not lose out when losing. "Du Gai, you old bastard. Your grandfather died a good man, unlike you, a disgraceful grandson. For some personal benefits, you even abandoned your ancestor." Du Gai's face was livid with anger. "Kill him. Kill this old bastard for me." The 4 of them intensified their attacks. Elder Sun's clothes were gradually dyed red with blood, and his eyes were bloodshot. He still swung his saber fiercely like a tiger, a spitting image of a god of war. Du Gai felt a sense of fear in his heart. This Sun Wuzhong was not human. He was injured so badly, yet he could still hold on for such a long time. He had to kill him today. Otherwise, he would definitely become troublesome in the future. Everyone, put in more effort. This old man is already at the end of his ropes. If we kill him now, the rest of these people are nothing to be afraid of. The four of them stepped up their attacks again. Elder Sun finally could not resist. He was stabbed in the abdomen by Du Gai, and his right leg was stabbed by another person. He used his saber to support his body, which was why he did not fall. Du Gai, even if I die, I will drag you all along with me. None of you will survive. Elder Sun roared angrily. Not good. He is going to self-destruct. Quickly dodge. Du Gai shouted in fear. Chapter 908, Little Wuzhong, stop. Elder Sun threw his head back and laughed. Du Gai, you can't hide. Today, I will drag you down with me. Elder Sun used all his strength to leap forward. Just as he was about to self-destruct his dantian, a burst of clear laughter rang out in the air. Little Uncle Zhong, your life is so precious. How can you waste it on these scumbags? Watch as I avenge you. Little ancestor. Elder Sun was instantly dumbfounded. Fuck. No one had called him that for hundreds of years, right? Who had the guts to call him that? The other people in the southern Jade Square also heard the voices in the air. They looked up and immediately burst into cheers. Little Ancestor Yun is here. The time of death for the godly Devil Hall has come. Little Ancestor Yun. Kill these shameless scum. Elder Sun was dumbfounded when he saw a beautiful girl riding a sword from the sky. He was puzzled. Little Ancestor Yun. Where did Little Ancestor Yun come from? Moreover, these people called her Little Ancestor Yun regardless of their sect. Could it be that this was her name? Why did she come up with such a weird name? After Yun Chuzhou landed on the ground, she glared fiercely at Elder Sunday, trash dim sum. Can't you tell the good from the bad? Why are you trying to self-destruct like it's no big deal? Get lost. Elder Sun was dumbfounded. If not for his serious injuries, he would have wanted to slap this little girl to death. Who were you? How dare you lecture him in such a tone? How rude. At that moment, everyone stopped their attacks and gathered around Yun Chuzhou. For some reason, when they saw Yun Chuzhou, they felt confident and felt that there was no difficulty that they could not defeat despite their precarious situation. Yun Chuzhou ignored Elder Sun and glanced at the situation in front of her, then, she curled her lips and said, the godly Devil Hall is really well known. Let me see, isn't it just a nest of wild cats and beasts? If you want me to say, don't call it the godly Devil Hall, just call it the Hall of Beasts. Ha ha ha, hearing Yun Chuzhou's words, everyone burst into a burst of mocking laughter. When they saw this little girl, their hearts instantly calmed down. Du Gai said sinisterly, stinky girl, you've ruined the affairs of our godly Devil Hall time and time again. Prepare to die. Du Gai saw that Yun Chuzhou was only at the first level of the Spirit Emperor realm. Although he heard that this little girl was a little strange, he did not take it seriously. He raised his sword and stabbed toward her. He also had the intention to contribute to the cause. If he could capture or kill Yun Chuzhou, it would be a huge win for them. Su Yenran stood at the side and did not stop him. She also wanted to assess Yun Chuzhou's current strength. Anyway, with Yun Xiaotian in hand, she would not be able to escape from her hands. At that moment, Du Gai was already busy fighting with Yun Chuzhou. He thought that if he would be able to take Yun Chuzhou down in less than 15 minutes. He never expected that although Yun Chujio dodged his attacks every time, she was not injured at all. Moreover, she was running her mouth the entire time. Du Gai, do you think you are going back to your old self? You are a sect leader, but you are shameless enough to be someone else's lackey. You're so cheap. Su Yenran was originally your disciple, but now you are actually calling her lord. You are the model of shamelessness and disgrace. Du Gai, you have forgotten your ancestors. For a so-called meteoric rise, you even abandoned your ancestors. I think you should stop calling yourself Du Gai in the future and just call yourself Wang Ba-yi. Chapter 909, Yun Chujio or Little Ancestor Yun. Du Gai was so angry that he almost died. However, no matter how hard he tried, Yun Chujio was able to dodge his attacks every time. It always looked like he almost hit her, but there was no damage at all. Io, Wang Ba-yi, you're not that good. Could it be that you sold out your ancestors and your conscience in exchange for such weak spiritual power? TSK, you really are stupid. Du Gai, if I were you, I would find a piece of tofu and smash it to death. That's the best thing you can destroy with your power. You have the face to show off here. Your skin is really thick to a certain level. It's amazing. Du Gai almost fainted from anger. This little girl had always had a sharp tongue in the past. He did not expect her to be even-tongued to be even more venomous now. She was too infuriating. He had to kill her. However, even though he had used all of his strength, Yun Chujio had barely broken a sweat. Moreover, she had never stopped talking. She had specifically pushed Du Gai's buttons. She had even sprinkled a handful of salt on his wounds. Everyone was watching the battle from behind. Elder Sun had already recovered a little after consuming a medicinal pill. He poked Master Xianyuan beside him. Master, who is that little girl? Her name is Little Ancestor Yun. Why does everyone know her? Is she very famous? The corners of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched. He thought to himself, this little girl was able to enter the Spirit Radiance sect because of you. You don't recognize her. She is Yun Chujio. You met her in the Demon Beast Forest back then. Have you forgotten? Elder Sun was stunned, then he grinned. Master, don't tease me. Back then, I did save a little girl named Yun Chujio. However, not only was that little girl dark and thin, but she was also a poor little girl without any spirit energy. How could it be her? Besides, isn't her name Yun Chujio? It's not like her name is Little Ancestor Yun. She is Yun Chujio. She has a heavenly thunder root spirit. It was just that it was not known back then. Moreover, Little Ancestor Yun is not her name, but a form of address. She is Ancestral Master Linghua's personal disciple, so we call her Little Ancestor Yun. What the hell? Ancestral Master Linghua's personal disciple? Sect Master, are you out of your mind? Ancestral Master Linghua has ascended for tens of thousands of years, how could he accept a little girl as his disciple? Elder Sun could not believe his ears. It's true. Ancestral Master Linghua had once left a message that whoever could find the treasure he left behind in the South Jade Square would be his personal disciple. Coincidentally, that treasure was discovered by Yun Chujio, so she became Ancestral Master Linghua's personal disciple. Look, the staff in her hand was left behind by Ancestral Master Linghua. Elder Sun looked at the short staff in Yun Chujio's hand, and the corner of his eyes twitched violently. That was the treasure. No matter how I look at it, it looks like a rolling pin. Moreover, a heavenly thunder spirit root. This little girl had been dodging the entire time and did not use any spiritual power to attack. At most, she used the rolling pin to hit the wind blades flying at her. What exactly was she planning? Of course, although Elder Sun had a bad temper, it did not mean that he was stupid. He would not ask this question without reason. That little girl had been mischievous back then. Maybe she was planning something. I do not want to ruin her plans. Yun Chuzhou had been avoiding Du Gai's attack, but she did not fight back until the voice transmission talisman in her storage ring started to vibrate. The corner of this guy's mouth curled up. Wang Ba-yi, I've let you use so many moves, but you still can't hit me. What a waste. Now it's my turn. Take this. Little Joe's Thunderbolt. Chapter 9-10, A Promise to Repay the Favor. Following Yun Chujia's words, lightning bolt after lightning bolt struck Du Gai. Du Gai hurriedly dodged. Although he had heard of Yun Chujia's heavenly thunder root spirit, this was the first time he had seen it with his own eyes. Not only was Yun Chuzhou able to use purple heavenly lightning, but her left and right hands were also able to continuously strike without pause. His heart tightened. This little girl was indeed strange. Although Du Gai was 2 levels higher than Yun Chuzhou in terms of spirit power, his spirit power was stimulated by medicinal pills. Moreover, he had been fighting for the past few days, and his spirit power had also been greatly depleted. Compared to Yun Chuzhou, he was slightly at a disadvantage. However, Yun Chuzhou had a cheat, and that was her mouth. While fighting, she was also insulting Du Gai. Although Du Gai had sought refuge with the godly Devil Hall for the great Tao of longevity, he could not say that he did not have the slightest bit of guilt in his heart. He was flustered by Yun Chujia's barrage of derogatory words. Yun Chuzhou saw an opening and shot a bolt of lightning at Du Gai's left shoulder. Du Gai let out a miserable cry, clutched his shoulder, and jumped to the side. Yun Chuzhou did not continue to chase after him. Instead, she hooked her finger at Su Yanran. Su Yanran, do you feel that you can't be seen in public, so you put on a purple mask? Su Yanran sneered and slowly walked over. Yun Chuzhou, I didn't expect that the trash from back then would have the time to fight me. However, your glory will only last until today. Su Yanran, don't you feel guilty saying that? Don't you know why your spiritual power rose so quickly? You have the nerve to call me trash. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. Humph. I have my reasons for that. Yun Chuzhou, don't think that you can win against Du Gai. You are not my opponent. I will make you admit your defeat today. Su Yanran did not use her weapon. Instead, she formed a seal with her hands and thousands of wind blades flew toward Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou suddenly jumped up and dodged the wind blades. Before she landed on the ground, a bolt of lightning had already flown toward Su Yanran. Su Yanran dodged and then threw out a few more wind blades. The two of them were evenly matched. Master Xianyuan frowned. Little Jiu was no match for Su Yanran. In less than 15 minutes, she would definitely begin to slow down. Sure enough, after 15 minutes, Yun Chuzhou was at a disadvantage. She could only parry and had no strength to fight back. Su Yanran finally released her pent-up anger from the past few years. She said proudly, Yun Chuzhou, trash will always be trash. You will never surpass me. So what if you have a heavenly thunder spirit root? So what if you can seduce men? You are still trash. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. Su Yanran, don't celebrate too early. Look at the sword. As Yun Chuzhou spoke, 5 immortal swords suddenly flew out and stabbed toward Su Yanran. The 5 immortal swords were all aimed at Su Yanran's vital points. Su Yanran was shocked. She was caught off guard and could not dodge in time. She had no choice but to use her spiritual energy shield to withstand the attack. The two of them fought again. Everyone was dumbfounded. Gosh, one person could actually command 5 flying swords at the same time. This is an illusion, right? How powerful was her spiritual sense? Even someone at the peak of the 9th layer of the spiritual emperor realm could not pull that off. Elder Sun's mouth was wide open. This little girl was indeed powerful. He suddenly remembered that back when they were outside Yi City, the little girl had once said that she would repay them with a small favor. At that time, they had thought that it was just a joke. At that moment, he did not expect that he would have to rely on this little girl to turn the tide. Chapter 9:11, Wind Root Spirit. Su Yanran's eyes were filled with the flames of jealousy. This Yun Chujio had not only become more beautiful, but her spiritual power had also grown immensely. She had to get rid of her today. Although she could use Yun Xiaotian as leverage if needed, if she could not defeat her with her own power today, sooner or later, it would gnaw at her conscience. Thinking of that, Su Yanran intensified her attacks. The wind blades she used had a faint golden glow. Everyone cried out in surprise. This Su Yanran actually had a mutated wind root spirit. The wind blades that were used by people with wind root spirits would have a golden glow. No wonder Su Yanran's spiritual power had increased so quickly. Other than the aid of medicinal pills, it was probably also related to her wind root spirit. Everyone looked at the two young girls fighting and could not help but sigh. A true hero was born from youth. The two young girls were no more than 20 years old, but their cultivation levels were out of this world. It was a pity that Su Yanran was a member of the godly Devil Hall. No matter how talented she was, it was such a waste she had joined the wrong side. After a moment, the scales of victory once again tilted towards Su Yanran. Commanding 5 flying swords at the same time sorely taxed Yun Chujia's spiritual sense. Moreover, she had to dodge those golden wind blades at the same time. Yun Chujio gradually weakened from fatigue. Although Yun Chujio could release the demonic beasts and attack together with everyone else, when two enemies fought, the commander-in-chief was like the representative of the army they led. If the commander-in-chief was defeated, then it would greatly damage the morale of the soldiers. I have to think of a way to defeat Su Yanran. Yun Chujio could let Little Black Bird out and curse her opponents, but that move was her trump card. She had to save it for the most critical moment and use it when Su Yanran used her secret technique to prevent her from escaping. Therefore, she had to think of another way. Yun Chujio tried hard to hold on while thinking of a way to beat Su Yanran. One by one, she rejected all the ideas. Whether it was using a spiritual pet or a demon beast to help, it would be an unfair victory. She had to rely on her own spiritual power. Yun Chujio was distracted, so she could not dodge the few golden wind blades that flew toward her. Fortunately, she had enough defensive spiritual tools on her. With a flash of light, she blocked the golden wind blades, but the spiritual tools also shattered. An attack from one of the 9th level of the spiritual emperor realm was still extremely powerful even if it was just one wind blade. Following that, the defensive spiritual tools on Yun Chujia's body shattered with a crackling sound. Hearing that, everyone's hearts trembled. Some people could not help but shout, "Little Ancestor Yun, if you can't hold on, let's attack her together." Yun Chujio replied while she dodged another of Su Yanran's attacks, "Don't worry, this traitor isn't a match for me. I'll kill her myself." Su Yanran sneered, "Yun Chujio, you're really stubborn. I'm no match for you. I'll send you to hell right now. Go to hell. If you want to go there, you can go yourself. You shameless little bitch, I'll strike you to death with lightning. Take this. And this. And this. And this." Yun Chujio kept up her verbal assault alongside her lightning attacks, however, her heart grew more uncertain. This Su Yanran was too difficult to deal with. She was no match for her at all. Should she give up just like that? Not to mention losing face, the potential damage to the morale of her allies was too great. What should she do to kill her? Yun Chujio suddenly gritted her teeth. For now, she could only forcefully break through. She was now at the 5th level of the spiritual emperor realm. After breaking through, she could at least reach the 8th level of the spiritual emperor realm. When that time came, she could fight on par with her. That was what she should do. Therefore, while Yun Chujio was fighting with Su Yanran, she quickly refined the power of lightning from the strange grass at the same time. The power of lightning in her meridians and dantian steadily increased. Chapter 9:12. Kill all of you. Seeing that Yun Chujio gradually weakened, Su Yanran was delighted. This blight on her conscience that had plagued her for 3 years was about to be dispelled. As long as she killed Yun Chujio, the Azure Mystic Continent would be within her grasp. As the joy of her impending victory filled her heart, her attacks became increasingly fierce. On the other hand, Yun Chujio slowly retreated in defeat. The people of the Spirit Radiance sect felt their hearts clench. Little Jiu was going to lose. If she was in danger, they would save her no matter what. Thus, everyone was on full alert. They were prepared to save Yun Chujio when she was on the verge of defeat. Someone suddenly noticed that the sky had started to turn dark. Everyone looked up and saw several dark clouds gathering toward them. Everyone thought to themselves, could it be that it was going to rain? However, Yun Chujio's heart was filled with joy. The gathering of dark clouds meant that she was about to break through successfully. She only needed to hold on for a little longer. At that time, with the power of the heavenly lightning, she would definitely be able to get rid of Su Yanran. Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about this, Su Yanran caught her by surprise. A gold wind blade tore through her spiritual energy barrier and landed on her left arm. Fresh blood immediately oozed out. Yun Chujio was in so much pain that she shivered. This pain stimulated her fighting spirit even more. She smiled brightly and said, Su Yanran, my ultimate move is about to come. I advise you to kneel and admit your mistakes right now. I might let you live. Su Yanran was so angry that she was amused. Yun Chujio, are you delusional? You should be the one kneeling. In less than 15 minutes, you will die without a doubt. Without a doubt. Then let's wait and see. Let's see who dies in the end. Yun Chujio continued to increase her spiritual power and finally reached the critical point of breaking through. At this moment, the sky gradually darkened. The gathered Wu Yun suddenly struck down a bolt of purple lightning. Yun Chujio immediately screamed and moved closer to Su Yanran. Damn, you stupid Wu Yun, you can't even hit me. If you don't believe me, you can try. I'm running so fast. These Wu Yun were the same ones that struck Yun Chujio at Longping Mountain back then. They thought that they had already killed Yun Chujio, this scourge, but they did not expect that she was still alive. They were too angry at Yun Chujio, so they repeatedly struck at her. This time, no matter what, they had to kill her. Although they did not injure the innocent, they would occasionally miss. When they saw Yun Chujio running around in all directions, they were so annoyed that they kept trying to hit her. The people from the Spirit Radiance sect had long known about Yun Chujio's abilities and knew that they had to retreat far away. However, the people from the Godly Devil Hall did not know what was happening. The first one to suffer was Su Yanran, who was closest to Yun Chujio. A bolt of heavenly lightning was supposed to strike Yun Chujio, but, unexpectedly, Yun Chujio suddenly turned her body, and that bolt of lightning struck Su Yanran instead. It was already too late for Su Yanran to dodge, so she could only use her spiritual energy barrier to block the bolt of heavenly lightning. Su Yanran was so angry that she gnashed her teeth. Just as she was about to settle the score with Yun Chujio, she found that Yun Chujio was charging toward the people from the Godly Devil Hall. She was provoking the heavenly lightning while she ran amongst the Godly Devil Hall forces, and the heavenly lightning was so angry that it could not differentiate between right and wrong. Although most of the lightning struck Yun Chujio, there were still quite a number of heavenly lightning strikes that struck the people from the Godly Devil Hall. Although some people were not injured, they had lost quite a number of spirit weapons. Some unlucky people were even severely injured. The people from the godly devil hall immediately retreated quickly as if they were avoiding the plague. This was a devil who could not be killed by the heavenly lightning strikes. She was a monster. Chapter 9:13, Soaring Spiritual Power. Su Yanran almost went crazy when she saw the scene in front of her. This Yunchujio was so freakish that even the heavenly lightning could not kill her. This damn heavenly lightning had terrible timing. Why did it come here now? It was detestable. The Wu Yun in the sky kept attacking for a short while, and then, for some reason, it suddenly withdrew. Yunchujio was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Why did this damn heavenly lightning stop? It was infuriating. Fortunately, her spiritual power had already risen to the 8th level of the spiritual emperor realm, and she had achieved her goal. Seeing that the heavenly lightning had stopped, Su Yanran looked at Yunchujio. To her astonishment, she found that Yunchujio's eyes were actually emitting purple lightning, which made her look extremely demonic. Taking a closer look, she found that Yunchujio's eyes were no different from ordinary persons. She thought to herself, could it be that she had been seeing things? Yunchujio, the heavenly lightning didn't kill you. I'm here to finish the job. Seeing Yunchujio's abnormal abilities, Su Yanran was even more anxious to get rid of Yunchujio. As long as this bitch Yunchujio was alive, she would never be able to make a name for herself, her big plans would never be completed. She had to kill her. Yunchujio smiled at her. Then, Su Yanran and the others noticed that the level of Yunchujio's spiritual power was slowly increasing. It was at the 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th level of the spiritual emperor realm. It only stopped when she reached the 8th level of the spiritual emperor realm. Everyone was shocked. How could this be? Although Yunchujio might have hidden her spiritual power, she was at most at the 5th level of the spiritual emperor realm. How could she reach the 8th level of the spiritual emperor realm in such a short time? This did not make sense. Could this be the perverse part of the heavenly thunder spiritual root? Su Yanran was also shocked. She did not think too much and immediately resumed her attacks. She planned to take Yunchujio down while her spiritual power was still unstable. Yunchujio smiled faintly. She waved her right hand and released 2 bolts of lightning. Then, she waved her left hand, and another 2 bolts of lightning shot out. Moreover, the lightning she fired this time was also much thicker than before. Su Yanran hurriedly dodged. Yunchujio waved her hands repeatedly, and lightning bolts continuously flew towards Su Yanran. The two of them were once again entangled in battle. The people of the Spirit Radiance sect were pleasantly surprised to find that although Yunchujio's spiritual power was still not as high as Su Yanran's, Yunchujio had the upper hand in the situation. If the fight dragged on, Su Yanran would lose. Su Yanran also realized the same thing at that point. Her entire person had suffered a huge blow. Impossible. She was already so strong, so how could Yunchujio, this trash, still be able to defeat her? It was impossible. Su Yanran gritted her teeth. Forget it. Her doubts could be solved later. She had to kill Yunchujio first. Thus, she jumped back and sneered, Yunchujio, stop. If you want Yun Shaotian to live, you have to kill yourself immediately. What did you do to my grandfather? I have to see my grandfather safe and sound with my own eyes. Yunchujio indeed panicked. She completely lost her calm and self-confidence from before. Su Yanran immediately revealed a smug smile, so what if you're strong? I found your weakness. I had no doubt that you'd stop when I mentioned your grandfather. Su Yanran took out a voice transmission talisman and sent a message to the golden-masked man guarding Yun Shaotian. She motioned for him to bring Yun Shaotian over. Then, to her horror, she realized that the voice transmission talisman had not worked. Su Yanran sent another voice transmission talisman to another golden masked man, but it also did not work. This could only mean one thing. They had already been killed. Yun Xiaotian must have already been rescued. Chapter 9:14, Demonic Beasts Unleashed. Su Yanran's face immediately turned ashen. That was impossible. She had sent 15 golden masked men to guard Yun Xiaotian. They all had spiritual power above the 6th layer of the Spirit Emperor realm, and they were not far from here. How could they be taken out? Yun Chujiu laughed mockingly. Su Yanran, you still don't admit that your brain isn't working. You only sent a few people to guard the hostages, and they aren't even in sight. Don't you think you're even dumber than a pig? You. Did you send people to kidnap Yun Xiaotian? Su Yanran's face was ashen. Yun Xiaotian was her trump card, but she had not expected Yun Chujiu to send people to save him. What now, Su Yanran? Your trump card is already gone. Now it's time for us to fight to the death. Yun Chujiu said with a cold smile. Only then did Su Yanran remember that the young Master Di and Yun Chuling who had always been by Yun Chujiu's side had not appeared. Presumably, they were the ones who went to save him. No wonder when Yun Chujiu fought with Du Gai previously, she could have won, yet, she just rambled on and on while fighting her. It turned out that she was trying to stall for time and divert her attention. She was really cunning. Humph. Yun Chujiu, although I don't have Yun Xiaotian as my trump card anymore, just you people alone are not our match. Moreover, we still have the people of the 5 cities in our hands. If you dare to make a move, I will give the order to kill those people. Su Yanran, do you take me for a fool? Those people were captured by you to provide the blood source for the evil formation. How could they have a chance to live? Moreover, you are getting ahead of yourself. We don't only have the forces you see here. We also have many reinforcements elsewhere. Moreover, they are very powerful reinforcements. Su Yanran sneered and said, Yun Chujiu, there is a limit to your boasting. Almost all the high-level cultivators of the Azure Mystic Continent are here. What other reinforcements could you possibly have? Could it be the people at the spirit enhancement level? Yun Chujiu did not answer her. Instead, she said to the people of the Spirit Radiance sect behind her, you guys make some space. The bigger the better. I'm going to call for reinforcements. Some people knew that Yun Chujiu was going to release the demonic beasts, but others did not. They thought to themselves, why did she ask to make room for reinforcements? However, because of Yun Chujiu's usual strange behavior, they all obediently moved away. Yun Chujiu raised her hand, and high-level demon beasts began to appear in the empty space one after another. Immediately, the earth-shaking roars of the beasts resounded throughout the entire Spirit Radiance sect, and they could even be heard within a radius of several hundred li. Those demon beasts, especially the demon beasts of the Elixir Valley, hated the people of the godly Devil Hall to death. Fuck, if it wasn't for you guys, we would have been fine in the Elixir Valley. Would we have had to submit to this little devil? Would we have to leave our homes and follow her all the way to seek revenge on you guys? We have been starving for a few days. We are going to eat our fill using you as food. The demonic beasts had fierce looks in their eyes as they stared at the people from the godly Devil Hall across from them. When the people from the godly Devil Hall saw so many high-level demonic beasts, they almost wet their pants in fear. Fuck. This Yun Chujiu was not human. How could she get so many demonic beasts, and they were all high-level ones? Why did these demonic beasts listen to her commands? How was this possible? Su Yanran's heart suddenly sank. It was over. The situation was over. If they only had those cultivators to contend with, the victory of the godly Devil Hall would be assured. However, with so many high-level demonic beasts around, even if they doubled their manpower, they would still not be a match for them. The only thing they could do now was to retreat to the Heavenly Gate sect first, and then find an opportunity to counterattack. Chapter 9:15, The Hand That Tore Open the Void. Su Yanran thought of this and said to her subordinates, "Retreat." Yun Chuzhou did not say anything and did not give the order to give chase. Instead, she smiled as she watched Su Yanran and the people from the Godly Devil Hall escape from the square. Just as everyone was puzzled, they realized that the people from the Godly Devil Hall had retreated. The handsome man in white and the charming man in red led a group of high-level demon beasts and forced the people from the Godly Devil Hall back. Su Yanran gritted her teeth and wanted to ride her sword to leave. However, thousands of demon birds flew over from the sky. Their huge wings covered the sky and the sun, firmly guarding the sky. The people of the Godly Devil Hall were lost to panic. They were surrounded. There was no way to escape. The golden-masked emissaries wanted to use the secret technique to escape. However, Yun Chuzhou was already on guard against this. Before they could start forming seals, the demon birds in the sky swooped down just as they bit their fingers. These demonic birds could even see the tiny ants on the ground when they were thousands of feet in the air. It was simply too easy to pick on these people. Those gold-masked men were unable to complete the seal after being attacked by the demonic birds. At that moment, the demonic beasts also charged towards the people from the Godly Devil Hall under Yun Chuzhou's command. The Godly Devil Hall forces had already been fighting here for several days and had used up most of their spiritual energy. Now, they trembled with fear. Very soon, more than half of them were mauled to death and killed by the demonic beasts. Some people began to kneel and beg for mercy. Those demonic beasts did not care for such things. In their eyes, other than that little devil, everything else was food. Seeing this, Su Yanran wanted to use the secret technique to escape. Yun Chuzhou had been watching her intently, so how could she let her have her way? Su Yanran was about to form a seal, but unexpectedly, she stumbled. At the same time, Yun Chuzhou's purple heavenly lightning, Di Baiming's ice dragon, and Xue Wuji's spirit skull bomb all smashed towards her. Su Yanran was scared out of her wits. It was too late for her to dodge. She quickly activated her spiritual energy shield. Although she blocked this attack, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Before she could recover, the second round of attacks came at her. She activated her spiritual energy shield again and blocked another attack. She spat out another mouthful of blood. Su Yanran's was crestfallen. It's over. I don't have any spiritual power to raise my spiritual power shield anymore. Don't tell me that I, Su Yanran, will lose my life just like that. Yun Chuzhou and the other two attacked again. Su Yanran closed her eyes and waited for death on the spot. At that moment, something unexpected happened. No one expected that just when Yun Chuzhou and the other two's attacks were about to hit Su Yanran, a crack was torn open in the air. Suddenly, a big hand appeared and dragged Su Yanran into it. Before Yun Chuzhou and the other two could react, the crack had already disappeared as if nothing had happened. However, Su Yanran had disappeared without a trace. Yun Chuzhou was stunned for a moment. Then, she began to command the demonic beasts to clean up the remaining people of the Godly Devil Hall. She deliberately left a few golden-masked men behind for Di Baiming to conduct a soul search. As the Godly Devil Hall had revealed themselves, those forces were no longer hidden. Therefore, even without the clues provided by these golden-masked men, it was very easy to find those forces. In their spiritual senses, there was very little information about that master. Even the information about Su Yanran was only limited to the usual orders given, and the person who usually contacted them was another purple-masked man. That purple-masked man was much older than Su Yanran. Some golden-masked men had been recruited by him 10 years ago. At that time, Su Yanran was only a few years old, and they were all already bribed and groomed by another purple-masked man. Chapter 9:16, The Ruthless Godly Devil Hall. Prince Charming, where is the place where they went to swear their allegiance to the Godly Devil Hall? How did they set it up? Yun Chujio recalled that Ren Lizzie had once said that they, silver-masked men, had to go somewhere to be initiated into the Godly Devil Hall. Di Biming curled the corners of his lips. It's at the evil formation that we destroyed at Longping Mountain. It seems that there's something else going on inside. After we're done here, well, go check it out again. Yun Chujio nodded. The battle was nearing its end. The people from the Godly Devil Hall were no match for the demonic beasts. Moreover, when they saw that Su Yenran had disappeared, they lost their fighting spirit and were quickly annihilated. Du Gai's cultivation was crippled by Master Shenyuan and his men. He was locked up because he was the only one who knew many secrets of the Heavenly Gates sect and had to be handed over to the Heavenly Gates sect to deal with. Unexpectedly, Du Gai suddenly bled to death from his orifices just as he was tied up. Those gold-masked men who were used by Di Biming to perform soul-searching on also ended up like Du Gai. They bled to death from their orifices. It was probably done by that purple-masked man or Su Yenran using evil techniques. They were really ruthless. Yun Chujio arranged for a portion of people to stay behind to clean up the battlefield. Then, she brought a portion of people and all the demon beasts to the Heavenly Gates sect to assist another group of cultivators. Just as Yun Chujio had guessed, the other group did not suffer much resistance after they arrived at the Heavenly Gates sect. The followers of the Godly Devil Hall had all gone to the Spirit Radiance sect. Other than a few gold-masked men, the rest were regular followers of the Heavenly Gates sect. They had only been forced by Du Gai and Su Yenran, so they had immediately turned against them after hearing that others were fighting against those two. They had helped them deal with the gold-masked men. After killing the gold-masked men, they followed Yun Chujio's instructions and first rescued the trapped commoners before destroying the evil formation. By the time Yun Chujio arrived, things had already come to an end. Yun Chujio had left behind some alchemists to help the commoners, then brought everyone else to the Skyblade sect and the Bixiao Palace. It did not take much effort to subdue the two sects, and without exception, the gold-masked men and silver-masked men had all bled to death from their 7 orifices. It was clear that the Godly Devil Hall had treated these people as pawns and had directly silenced them. Everyone sighed. These people were still dreaming of ascending. Even if they could find the eye of the earth, they would probably end up like this. How foolish. However, the Godly Devil Hall's ruthlessness could be seen from this. It was likely that only the purple-masked men would benefit, and the others were just chess pieces that could be discarded at any time. Yun Chujio led her men in a rush to Longping Mountain without rest. What shocked them was that the original underground palace had been razed to the ground, and there was a burnt smell from inside. The Godly Devil Hall forces must have burned the things inside before destroying it. A shadow could not help but cover the hearts of the people. They were afraid that the Godly Devil Hall would make a comeback. Yun Chujio cleared her throat and said, "Everyone, don't worry too much. Although we did not completely destroy the Godly Devil Hall this time, we have already eliminated the majority of their forces in the Azure Mystic Continent. Even if they want to make a comeback, it will take them several years. During this period, as long as everyone is on guard, it will not be easy for them to exert their influence. Moreover, the person who saved Su Yenran is very likely to be the master. It seems that he must have torn through the void to save Su Yenran. This means that he cannot step foot in the Azure Mystic Continent personally, he can only make use of his lackeys to help him accomplish his goals. Therefore, their strength won't be too terrifying. As long as we are united, even if they make a comeback, we can destroy them again." Chapter 9:17, The Days of Self-Indulgence. When everyone heard Yun Chujio's words, they all nodded. She was right. As long as they strengthened their defenses, it would not be so easy for the Godly Devil Hall to strike back. Moreover, they had suffered a great loss this time. They would not have the chance to turn things around for at least another decade. Everyone returned to the Spirit Radiance sect once again. The disciples there were currently cleaning up the battlefield. This calamity had destroyed 1/3 of the Spirit Radiance sect's foundation that had existed for tens of thousands of years. Were it not for Yun Chujia's efforts in turning things around, the Spirit Radiance sect would probably no longer exist. Since the matter had temporarily come to an end, the people of the various sects all made their farewells. Yun Chujio waved her little hands to send everyone off. As the people of the Spirit Radiance sect had to rebuild their sect, they were also extremely busy. Yun Chujio simply greeted Master Xianyuan and then went with Di Baiming, Xue Wuji, and the others to find a place to resettle the demon beasts. The demon beasts originally from the demon beast forest were naturally sent back there. Yun Chujio had promised these demon beasts that after the battle, she would give them blood coagulation pills. After fulfilling her promise, she sent them all back to the demon beast forest. The demon beasts in the Elixir Valley were more accustomed to life in the valley, so Yun Chujio sent them off and released them in a few different valleys. The Leopard King and the Golden Tortoise were still somewhat reluctant to part, so Yun Chujio secretly gave them some pills, only then did these two fellows leave happily. The corners of Yun Chujio's eyes twitched. Damn it, she thought that they were genuinely reluctant to part with her, but it turned out that they were trying to swindle some additional benefits off her. The illusionary electric elan, the spirit beast bag, was the most miserable. It was different from others. Only was the only sea beast and had to be sent somewhere appropriate. Moreover, the Spirit Radiance sect was located deep inland, so Yun Chujio did not have any plans to go toward the sea. For the time being, it could only continue to stay in the spirit beast bag in misery. Di Baiming and Xue Wuji helped Yun Chujio settle down those demon beasts and also returned to the Tian Yuan continent one after another. They felt that it was necessary to thoroughly investigate the situation in the Tian Yuan continent to prevent the godly devil Hall from also setting foot in the Tian Yuan continent. After Yun Chujio waved her little handkerchief to send the two of them off, the days of self-indulgence began. To thank Yun Chujio for saving their lives, the various sects invited Yun Chujio as their guest. Not only did she finish eating everything, but she also returned with a full load of leftovers each time. She had found it fun and had been happily attending banquets all day long. She had also earned a lot of money. Most importantly, she had also obtained 2 pieces of the Great Void Mirror fragments from the Bixiao Palace and the Skyblade sect. After the Great Void Mirror was repaired, it was upgraded again, and it could release low-grade earth-grade spirit herbs and demon beasts below the 9th level. In the past, Yun Chujio would have been very satisfied, but now she had high standards and felt that this function was underwhelming. It was not good enough, so she had to continue her search for the remaining broken pieces. She indulged himself for a month and before she started to do her work. That was to find a way to improve the aptitude of the Yun siblings. Although they had been cultivating diligently, their aptitude was limited. If they did not find a way to improve, they would probably end up stuck at the 5th level of the spiritual emperor realm, with no hope of ascending further. Although Feng Ming and the other 2 were much more talented than them, they would be hundreds of years old before they ascended. Firstly, Yun Chujio wanted to help them, and secondly, she had her own selfish motives for doing so. It would not be long before she ascended to the Tian Yuan continent, and the Yun residents would not be at ease. If the Yun siblings' spiritual power increased by a large margin, they would be able to better help protect it. In addition, she felt that she should bring a few others along to enter the Tian Yuan Academy. Otherwise, if she was alone, she might not be able to compete with those naturally talented disciples there. Feng Ming and the other 2 had just broken through to the 1st level of the Spirit Emperor realm a few days ago. Their aptitude was not bad, and as long as they had the appropriate medicinal pills to assist them, they would be able to ascend together with her. That little bitch Su Yanran used less than a year to soar to the 9th level of the Spirit Sovereign realm, so that meant would be medicinal pills that would allow Feng Ming and the others to rapidly advance. She had this sort of mysterious confidence, and so she began to attempt all sorts of things. Chapter 9:18, The Universal Essence Cleansing Pill. The demonic beasts in the Great Void Mystic Realm had become guinea pigs. Yun Chujio had locked herself in the courtyard all day to fiddle with the pills and then test them on those low-level demonic beasts. After those demonic beasts ate the pills that Yun Chujio fiddled with, some of them grew an additional tail, some of them had 3 mouths, some of them had colorful fur, and the saddest one was an earth-splitter brown bear. All of its fur had fallen off. From then on, it began to run around naked. When the Yun siblings, Feng Ming, and the others came to visit Yun Chujio told them about her intention to concoct pills. At first, everyone was filled with anticipation and joy, but after seeing those demonic beasts that ate Yun Chujio's pills, one by one, they fled at high speed. Damn it! How was that a pill that could raise one's aptitude? Those were pills that could kill. They would rather cultivate steadily than eat those pills. They didn't want to become monsters. Yun Chujio was undeterred. Even though she had failed countless times, she still stayed in the courtyard and fiddled around. Elder Qi was very interested in her experiments. Sometimes, he would come over to join in on the fun. That day, Elder Qi ran over excitedly. Little Jiu, I found this. Quick, take a look. Although Yun Chujio's identity as Little Ancestor Yun was confirmed, she felt that there was no point in putting on airs. Thus, he still let Elder Qi and the others call him Little Jiu. That way, both sides would be more at ease. Yun Chujio saw that Elder Qi had handed over a yellowed sheepskin scroll. When she opened it, it seemed to be a handwritten letter. Little Jiu, didn't our Spirit Radiance sect suffer a heavy blow previously? Although the library wasn't attacked, the sect leader felt that since most of the grounds were being renovated, the library should be renovated as well. When a disciple was organizing the library, he found this handwritten letter under a bookshelf. It seemed to be used to pad the bookshelf. Little Jiu, look at this record of the Universal Essence Cleansing Pill. Is it similar to the medicinal pill you want to refine? When Yun Chujio saw the record, she was ecstatic. After taking this Universal Essence Cleansing Pill, it could remove the impurities in a person's spirit root. Although it could not reach the level of a heavenly spirit root, it could increase the purity of the spirit root to above 8 stars. Yun Chujio was very puzzled. Why was such a good pill formula not passed down? She continued reading and saw that although the Universal Essence Cleansing Pill's effect was heaven-defying, there were many restrictions. One had to have a body of Yuan Yang and Yuan Yin under the age of 25, and their spiritual power level had to be above the 5th layer of the Spirit Cultivator realm. If one's aptitude was not good, how would one reach the 5th layer of the Spirit Cultivator realm before the age of 25? That was the first reason. The second reason was that the pill's effect was too heaven-defying. Once it was refined, it would definitely attract heavenly lightning. At the very least, the alchemist's cultivation would be impaired, and at the very worst, they would be struck to death. Thirdly, the medicinal herbs required for this pill were all high-grade earth grade, especially one of the primordial fruit. It was rarely seen in the world and was hard to find. Therefore, this pill formula was of little value. Although its effects were astonishing, it had no flexibility. Yun Chujio rubbed her chin. The first one was easy to handle. Fourth Brother and the others had just broken through to the 5th layer of the Spirit Cultivator realm a few days ago. Moreover, they usually kept their bodies clean and did not do anything that involved pleasure with the opposite gender. As for Senior Brother Feng Ming and the other two, it was hard to say. She would ask them one day. The second one was even less of a problem. She could not wait for the heavenly lightning to strike her. She was very willing to be struck, so she welcomed it. However, the third one was a little difficult to handle. She could collect and obtain other herbs. It was just that the Prince Charming had given her 2 primordial fruits back then, but they had all been eaten by her. If she had known earlier, she would have kept them. Chapter 9:19. The Sea of Stars. Elder Qi saw Yun Chujia's frown and said, "Little girl, this opportunity can be encountered but not sought. Take it slowly. Don't be too anxious." Yun Chujio nodded. The two of them exchanged some knowledge on alchemy before Elder Qi bade farewell and left. Just as Yun Chujio was frowning, Little Black Bird said from the treetop, "Master, I remember that you buried the core of a primordial fruit there. Why don't you dig it out and take a look? What if it sprouts? However, there hasn't been any movement for such a long time. I'm afraid it's going to be tough." Before Little Black Bird could finish his words, Yun Chujio jumped to the corner like a rabbit and took out a small shovel to start searching. Strange. Why is it gone? I remember it clearly. I buried it here. Why is it gone? Is it rotten? Has it turned into mud? Yun Chujio turned the courtyard into a mess, but she could not find the core of the primordial fruit. She sat on the ground and panted dejectedly. This guy thought for a while and took out a voice transmission talisman. "Primordial God, do you still have any primordial fruits with you?" "No, I got the 2 by chance. It is said that the primordial fruit tree is very rare and it is hard to find it." Di Baiming asked Yun Chujio why she wanted the primordial fruit. Yun Chujio told him the reason. Di Baiming promised Yun Chujio to send people to look for it but told her not to have too much hope. The chances of finding one were very slim. Yun Chujio grew depressed. The pill formula was already a rare find, but she did not expect that she would be forced to give up because of the lack of one of the main ingredients. However, she quickly adjusted itself and began to gather other materials. Once she found more primordial fruits, she could immediately refine the pill. After gathering all the other materials, Yun Chujio decided to try her luck. She could also find somewhere to settle the illusionary electric eel along the way. When the illusionary electric eel heard that the little devil was finally going to send it back to the sea, it was so excited that it almost fainted. It had almost given up hope but did not expect the little devil to keep her word. Not only did she want to send it back to the sea, but she also refined a restorative pill for it. She wanted to repair its damaged spiritual sense. Yun Chujio took the flying spirit tool and rushed to the nearest Sea of Stars. There were many islands in the Sea of Stars, just like the stars in the sky, so it was aptly named the Sea of Stars. Yun Chujio thought of Qing Si as soon as she got on the flying spirit tool. Qing Si had saved the lives of the Yun siblings at a critical moment, but she was very secretive about her own life. Seeing that she was unwilling to say more at the time, Yun Chujio did not ask further. In short, Qing Si's background was probably complicated. The Prince Charming had said that a flying spirit tool with offensive ability was considered rare in the Tian Yuan continent. Qing Si's spaceship's offensive ability should be limited in the Azure Mystic continent. If it were used in the Tian Yuan continent, its power would be even more shocking. 20 days later, Yun Chujio arrived at the Sea of Stars. Just like what was recorded in the books, the islands were densely packed. From afar, it looked like a sky filled with stars against the blue seawater. Yun Chujio summoned the merchant ship that she got from the Yongxing Trading Company. After boarding it, she sailed into the sea. After reaching the deep sea, Yun Chujio released the illusionary electric eel. "Little Loach, your new home is here." The illusionary electric eel almost cried when it entered the water. It finally saw the sea again. It was finally free. The illusionary electric eel bowed to Yun Chujio, then dived into the sea and disappeared. Damn! This heartless person left just like that. He should have thanked me for a while before he left. While Yun Chujio was mumbling, she saw the water in front of her churning. The illusionary electric eel had a big silver-white fish in its mouth. Chapter 920, Stewed Fish. Yun Chujio recognized the silver-white fish. It was a silver-scaled wrasse unique to the Sea of Stars. Its meat was delicious, but because it was a level 10 sea beast, it was hard to catch, so it was rarely sold on the market. Yun Chujio immediately forgot about the words that she had said to the illusionary electric eel. She smiled amiably and said, "Little Loach, I knew you were a grateful person. Thank you for your generous gift." The illusionary electric eel threw the silver-scaled wrasse onto the deck and dived into the sea again. Yun Chujio forgot about her original goal. After preparing the silver-scaled wrasse, she cut a large piece of fish meat and stewed it. Not long after, the entire boat was filled with a strange fragrance. She could not stop drooling. The three silly munchkins' eyeballs were about to fall off. They stared at the big pot, waiting for the meat to be cooked so they could feast on it. Little Black Rat was now close to losing its mind. Originally, it rarely ate anything other than oars. Now that it had been corrupted by Yun Chujio with delicious food, it no longer ate oars and began to eat all kinds of foods. Just as the four foodies were about to feast, a fishing boat quickly sailed over. Behind the fishing boat, there was a big boat chasing it. The people on the boat shouted, "Stop! Hand over the treasure you found, or I will destroy your Big Dipper Island. He Quan, you old man, if you don't stop, we will attack your Big Dipper Island right now. I heard that your daughter is as beautiful as a flower and jade. Well, ravage her first and then kill her to vent anger." "Right. After destroying Big Dipper Island, we'll reclaim the treasure ourselves." Yun Chujio frowned. Hearing that the people on the ship behind them behaved so aggressively, she thought, "Damn it, you dare to disturb me while I'm eating fish. You're courting death." Little Black Bird and the other two were even more furious. "Fuck! Where did these idiots come from? They dared interrupt our meal. We will torture him to death." The fishing ship had already passed Yun Chujio's ship. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, then steered her ship between the larger ship and the fishing ship it pursued. "Are you fucking blind? How dare you block our Cape Star Islands boat? Come out and kowtow to confess your crimes." Someone on the boat immediately shouted. Yun Chujio boarded the deck from the cockpit and smiled coldly. "Kowtow to confess my crimes? You guys are making such a big fuss and disturbing my meal. You guys are the ones who should kowtow." The people on the big ship saw that it was actually a beautiful girl and were stunned at first, then, they started to laugh lewdly, "Ha ha ha. I didn't expect there to be an unexpected find. This little girl is really pretty. She is much more handsome than old He's daughter. Little girl, you delivered yourself to our door. Don't blame us for not being polite. Brothers, go. Take this little girl back and make her the island owner's wife. We will use this boat when we go back out to sea in the future. First, we will deal with this little girl, then we will chase that old man He Quan. Even if he runs away, the monk won't have anywhere else to go but his temple." A man with a scar on his face said arrogantly. Yun Chujio was about to say something, but she did not expect the fishing boat to return. "Miss, quickly drive the boat and run away. We will hold them back." The one who spoke was an old man. One look and one could tell that he had been working out at sea all year round. A life full of hardships could be seen on his face. There were more than 10 strong young men beside him, but their spiritual power levels were not that high. They were all at the first or second layer of the spirit cultivator realm, much lower than the people on the big boat. Chapter 921, Something Wrong with Her Brain. Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. "Old man, I thought you had already run away, why did you come back to save me?" The old man smiled bitterly. "Miss, although I am old, I am not blind. You are helping us, but it is obvious that you are a foreigner. Those are people from Cape Star Island. You cannot afford to offend them. Leave quickly. If I leave, what will you do? Us? The old man smiled bitterly. We're already used to it. At worst, it'll be another round of extortions and beatings. They won't kill us. They rely on us to earn spirit stones. Old man, what are you talking about? What extortion? If it weren't for our protection, with your weak spirit energy, would you be able to survive in this sea of stars? I'm afraid you would have been annexed by the other islands long ago. Ungrateful old man. Hurry up and hand over the treasure you found, and then get lost. Otherwise, I will destroy your Big Dipper Island. A man with a scarred face said fiercely. Island Lord Wu, we will hand over this bead to you. Can you release us together with this lady? The old man said with a bead in his hand. Fuck you. You still dare bargain with me? Hand over the bead and get lost. Scarface saw the bead and his eyes revealed a greedy light. When Yun Chujio saw the bead in the old man's hand, but she felt very puzzled. The bead in the old man's hand was a waterproof bead. It was really strange. Were waterproof beads not only available in the endless sea? How did the old man get it in the Sea of Stars? Forget it. I'll deal with those bastards first and then ask for details later. Little Loach, you overturned the boat in front of you. You bit everyone to death, not leaving a single one alive. Yun Chujio was anxious to find out the origin of the waterproof bead. Moreover, it was obvious that those people from Cape Star Island were usually up to no good. They deserved to die. When Scarface heard Yun Chujio's words, he could not help but laugh out loud. Although this girl is beautiful, her brain must be malfunctioning. What nonsense is she talking about? Little Loach, you've even overturned our boat. What nonsense are you talking about? However, it doesn't matter if her brain isn't working properly. Once she's on the bed, she'll be obedient. Ha ha ha. His underlings also agreed with foul language as they stared at Yun Chujio with lewd expressions. The old man from Big Dipper Island sighed. It seemed that there was indeed something wrong with this lattice brain. Who or what was this little Loach? At this moment, the large ship from Big Dipper Island was suddenly overturned. A huge sea beast with a bloody mouth swallowed the people who had fallen into the water. There were some screams from the capsized boat and then abrupt silence. The large ship had also sunk to the bottom of the sea. If it were not for the huge sea beast that kept fawning in front of the young lady, everything would have seemed like an illusion. The old man and the people on the ship rubbed their eyes and stared in disbelief. That was a level 13 illusionary electric eel, right? Oh God, this was a sea beast that only existed in the deepest part of the Sea of Stars, and it was rarely seen because the people who saw it did not make it back alive. Why would this illusionary electric eel listen to this little girl? This was too unbelievable. Yun Chujio praised the illusionary electric eel a few times and then asked the old man, is that a waterproof bead in your hand? The old man was stunned. He thought that Yun Chujio had taken a fancy to this waterproof bead, so he said with a trembling voice, This is indeed a waterproof bead. Fairy, if you like it, I'll give it to you. Yun Chujio smiled and shook her head. Old man, you've misunderstood. I don't want this bead. I'm just a little curious. Isn't this waterproof bead only available in the endless sea? How did you find one in the Sea of Stars? Chapter 922, Deep Sea Whirlpool. Fairy, you might not know this, but there is a whirlpool about 100 li from here. The current there is very fast, and we don't know where it leads to. However, rare items often float out of it. Although that place is extremely dangerous, we were forced to do so. All our income from fishing was given to Cape Star Island. We couldn't go on any longer, so we wanted to go there to try our luck. We didn't expect that we would be able to pick up this waterproof bead. Unfortunately, we found it and celebrated the discovery. We were found by the people of Cape Star Island, which was the event you stumbled upon just now. Fairy, usually, Cape Star Island oppresses our Big Dipper Island. You helped us get rid of the biggest threat. Please accept our gratitude. After the old man finished speaking, he brought the young people behind him to kneel and kowtow in thanks. Yun Chujio said a few polite words to let them stand up and then asked them about the whirlpool in front of them. Fairy, don't tell me you want to find out where the vortex leads. I advise you not to take the risk. We are forced to live here like this because we have no other choice. The vortex is extremely dangerous, and cultivators often lose their lives there. You'd better not go, the old man advised earnestly. Yun Chujio smiled and said, Old man, don't worry. I know what to do. Goodbye. After saying that, Yun Chujio returned to the cockpit and headed in the direction that the old man had pointed out. The illusionary electric eel shook its head and wagged its tail as it escorted her boat away. The ship and the beast gradually disappeared from the old man's sight. The old man shook his head. He hoped that this girl was safe. That whirlpool was not a joke. After the old man sighed, he commanded the young men to dive underwater and retrieve all the valuable items from the sunken ship on Cape Star Island. This time, they would be able to hold on for a long time. Yun Chujio soon discovered the whirlpool. It was indeed very dangerous at first glance. There were even whirlpool-like ripples on the surface of the sea. It was probably even more turbulent at the bottom of the sea. Yun Chujio kept the merchant ship anchored, then jumped into the sea. Then, she looked at the huge whirlpool. The whirlpool kept spiraling up from the bottom of the sea. From time to time, some things would be washed out of the whirlpool. Yun Chujio picked up some and looked at them. There were shells and some dead small fish. What surprised Yun Chujio was that some of the mussels only existed in the endless sea and freshwater fish that only existed in hot springs. It was really puzzling. If this whirlpool was connected to the endless sea, why would there be small fish in the hot springs? If it was connected to the hot springs, why would there be mussels in the endless sea? Could it be that this whirlpool was connected to two places, or that this whirlpool was formed by the intersection of two small whirlpools? Just as Yun Chujio was puzzled, she did not expect that the suction force of the vortex suddenly increased and Yun Chujio's entire body was sucked into the vortex. The illusionary electric eel was dumbfounded as it watched from a distance. It's over. The little devil is dead for sure. I was originally looking forward to my glorious freedom, yet you insisted on coming to see the vortex. You're courting death. The illusionary electric eel stayed by the side for a few days but did not see Yun Chujio's body. It wondered if the little girl had been washed away somewhere else. I have done my best, little devil. I hope you are okay. After Yun Chujio was swept into the whirlpool, she activated a spiritual energy shield to protect her body. There was a distorted light screen in front of her, and she could not see anything. She thought to herself that the whirlpool would sometimes push her one way and sometimes pull her in another. She was unlucky enough to be caught in those moments, and she did not know where it would lead. Chapter 923, Return to the Chimeric Icefield. 2 days later, Yun Chujio was washed out by the whirlpool. She found that she was in freshwater, and the temperature was relatively high. Could it be a hot spring? Why did the scenery here look familiar? Yun Chujio climbed out of the water and was immediately dumbfounded. Fuck. Wasn't this the Chimeric Icefield? Right, when she and Phone went to the bottom of the water to investigate, they did indeed find a whirlpool. At that time, she had speculated that this whirlpool led to the sea. As she had expected, this place led to the Sea of Stars. Moreover, it might even lead to the Endless Sea. It was truly an unexpected find. An idea flashed through Yun Chujio's mind. However, when she wanted to grab hold of it, she could not recall that moment of inspiration. Hence, she could only climb onto the shore. After drying her clothes, she looked around. This place was no different from before. From afar, she could see two earth-shattering ice bears running over. They were Big Bear and Bear 2. The two earth-shattering ice bears had looked for food nearby. After smelling the scent on Yun Chujia's body, they immediately ran over. The two gigantic creatures acted coquettishly. Yun Chujio could not help but laugh. These two were probably here for her medicinal pills. Yun Chujio took out 2 bottles of transcendent-grade blood coagulation pills and threw them at them. The attitude of the two earth-shattering ice bears became even more obedient. Big Bear gestured for Yun Chujio to ride on its back. Yun Chujia's eyes lit up. Since she had arrived at the chimeric icefield, it was a good opportunity for her to visit Brother Merman. She might not be able to return to the Azure Mystic Continent for a long time, so it was a good opportunity to leave some food for Brother Merman. Yun Chujio commanded the Big Bear to go to the place where the enchantment was discovered. However, she never expected that the mountain had disappeared. Yun Chujio was instantly dumbfounded. How could this be? How could a mountain suddenly disappear? If the mountain was gone, how could she find Brother Merman? Yun Chujio asked Little Black Rat to drill into the ice layer to check. Little Black Rat dug more than 100 feet deep, but it did not find any traces of the original underground palace. Yun Chujio thought of the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma. She immediately asked Big Bear to carry it to the place where the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma grew. Sure enough, the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma had disappeared. What was going on? Could it be that the people who imprisoned Brother Merman had moved him to another place to be imprisoned? Or could it be that Brother Merman had escaped by himself? Yun Chujio could not figure it out. She could only say goodbye to the two earth-shattering ice bears as she followed the route out of the chimeric icefield that she had used before, preparing to return to the Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chujio had just left the chimeric icefield and the voice transmission talisman in her storage ring started to tremble. After Yun Chujio sent her divine sense in, she heard Di Baiming's anxious voice, "Little Jiu, where did you go? Are you okay?" Yun Chujio thought that Di Baiming was probably worried that something had happened to her, so she quickly replied, "Prince Charming, I'm fine. I just came out from the chimeric icefield." After a while, the voice transmission talisman started to vibrate again, and Di Baiming's cold snort came from within, "So that's how it is." Yun Chujio was stunned, and then she was furious. "You facial paralysis. What are you snorting for? I had disappeared for 3 days and that's your response? What do you mean by that? You sound as if I did something bad." "What? I almost died in the whirlpool. You didn't even ask me what kind of danger I encountered and just said that it was how it is. How outrageous." Yun Chujio was so angry that she did not reply to Di Baiming. Di Baiming also did not send a voice transmission talisman over. A cold war had started between the two. Chapter 924, Di Baiming saw something. Half a month later, Yun Chujio returned to the Spirit Radiance sect. The moment she entered the courtyard, she saw Di Baiming glaring at her like a tiger staring at a dead fish. "You're still willing to come back? I thought that you would live permanently in the chimeric icefield from now on." Di Baiming squeezed out 2 sentences from between his teeth. Yun Chujio was also furious. "Damn it, I just traveled home from 1,000 miles away. It was fine if you did not ask about my well-being, but who were you trying to make fun of?" Yun Chujio ignored Di Baiming and went straight into the house. Di Baiming was so angry that he gritted his teeth and followed her into the house. An Feng and an Een in the corner looked at each other. A storm was brewing. It had been a long time since they had seen His Excellency and Miss Jiu quarreling. This time, they would not be nice. Miss Jiu's temper was getting shorter, she would not be as humble as before. His Excellency was also not a coward. The two of them would have a lot of trouble. After Di Baiming entered the room, he saw that Yun Chujio had picked up some paper and written on them. His heart relaxed. He overlooked the fact that the black thing ignored him just now. She must be writing a guarantee letter or a self-reflection letter for him. Since she already knew that she was wrong, I will forgive her for now. After a moment, Yun Chujio stuffed the things that she had written into Di Baiming's arms and pushed Di Baiming out of the door. I want to take a shower. You go out and wait. Although Di Baiming felt that it was a little embarrassing to be pushed out, he misunderstood Yun Chujio's behavior as shyness and did not take it to heart. He walked to a nearby stone table and read what Yun Chujio had written. He got so angry that he smashed the stone table into powder on the spot. There was an ugly fish drawn on the paper, and there was an egg drawn next to the fish. On the side, it was written, Di Baiming fish, you arrogant bastard, get lost. Di Baiming was mad. After smashing the stone table, he directly rushed into the room, then covered his nose and rolled out dejectedly. Anfeng saw that there was blood flowing from the gap between the fingers of His Excellency, and he could not help but shiver. Miss Jiu was really valiant. She actually hit His Excellency's nose. His Excellency would probably be subjected to domestic violence frequently in the future. Anfeng saw His Excellency cover his nose with one hand like an idiot. He stood there foolishly as if he was being imprisoned. Anfeng could not stand it anymore. He ran over to collect the remnants of the stone table and took out another set of stone tables and chairs. Anfeng's storage ring had more than 10 sets of stone tables and chairs, mainly for His Excellency, the palace mistress, and that Xue Wuji. He felt that having several prepared just in case of situations like this. Your Excellency, is your nose injured? It's better to wipe it quickly. Anfeng could not help but remind Di Baiming when he saw that Di Baiming was like a lost deer. Only then did Di Baiming come back to his senses. He coughed awkwardly and waved his hand, indicating that Anfeng should get lost. Anfeng scurried back to the corner and saw His Excellency take out a handkerchief to wipe the blood from his nose and hands. Then, he sat on the stone bench in a daze. An hour later, Yun Chujio walked out of the room. After washing up, Yun Chujio looked even more beautiful. However, her eyes were full of anger as she rushed to Di Baiming's side. She grabbed his collar and said, "Didn't I tell you to stay outside? Who let you in? Didn't you know that I'm taking a bath?" Anfeng immediately understood how he got the nosebleed. Cough, cough, so it was because he had seen the 9th miss in her birthday suit. Chapter 925, From a Little Sheep to a Lioness. Di Baiming's eyes flickered a few times as he recalled the jade-like body he saw just now. His nose felt hot again and he quickly raised his head to prevent another nosebleed. Yun Chujio misunderstood. She thought that Di Baiming did not care to answer her question or that he did not like her figure, so she scolded angrily, "Pretty boy. What does that mean? You have seen everything and now you have a disgusted expression. Are you asking for a beating?" Anfeng and An looked at each other. Miss Jiu's style had completely changed. She had changed from a little sheep to a lioness. "Damn it, Your Majesty, you'll have to suffer in the future." Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio was angry, and he choked out a few words, "Pretty good looking." Yun Chujio's raging anger was instantly smothered. "Damn it, this pretty boy is pretty cute when he's like this." Why did her mood change so quickly? Thinking of the scene just now, Yun Chujio's face turned even redder. Seeing Yun Chujio's face turn red, Di Baiming's ears turned red as well. Then, he said, "Little Jiu, your hair hasn't dried yet. What if you catch a cold? It'll help you dry it with spiritual power." What the hell? Yun Chujio thought that she had heard wrong. What was he doing? She was sat on the stone bench by Di Biming in a daze. Then, Di Biming gently helped dry her hair. The anger in her heart instantly disappeared. She was more embarrassed than angry. After she took off her clothes, she suddenly had an idea. She wanted to see how her body was developing, so she took out a mirror from her storage ring. When she was twisting her waist and hips to admire her body, she did not expect Di Biming to rush in. When Di Biming saw Yun Chujia's flawless body, he was stunned at first, then he could not bear to look away. No matter how thick-skinned Yun Chujio was, she could not stand being stared at like this. She quickly jumped into the bathtub. Before she could scold him, Di Biming jumped out like a cat whose tail was stepped on. Di Biming stroked Yun Chujia's smooth long hair and felt a little distracted. With a flick of his sleeve, the miserable and Feng and Anin's 6 senses were instantly sealed. Di Biming bent down and gently held Yun Chujia's head. His hot lips kissed her. Yun Chujio did not expect him to initiate a kiss so easily. She used her hand to push Di Biming to break free, but Di Biming simply pressed her on the stone table. The hot kisses fell on her like a storm. Before Yun Chujio was knocked out by the kiss, a thought flashed through her mind, damn it, I'm already at the 8th level of the spiritual emperor realm, and I still can't fight back at all. How embarrassing. Di Biming had complete control of the situation. Yun Chujio was like a little sheep, allowing Di Biming to do whatever he wanted. After a quarter of an hour, Di Biming finally reined in his desire to eat Yun Chujio and let go of Yun Chujio. Yun Chujia's eyes were blurred from the kiss and her face was flushed red. Her lips were even brighter. Di Biming could not help but kiss her again. After another quarter of an hour, Di Biming saw that Yun Chujia's lips were slightly red and swollen from his kiss. Only then did he restrain his desire. After a long while, Yun Chujio finally regained her senses. She instantly turned from the irritable lioness into a shy little sheep. She sat on the stone chair and lowered his head, not daring to look at Di Biming. Di Biming had never seen such Yun Chujio so shy before. He felt his passion reignite in his heart again. He wanted to tear this little person in front of him into pieces and eat her. However, Di Biming gritted his teeth and squeezed out a sentence, "Little Jiu, your aunt has not yet visited?" Chapter 926, Di Biming apologizes. Yun Chujio was stunned at first, then she understood what Di Biming was referring to. She shook her head with a red face. Damn it, she was also puzzled. Why had her period not arrived yet? When she looked at her body just now, although there was a slight curve, it was still far from exquisite. It must be because her period had not come yet. Why was this? Di Biming sighed regretfully. He had to wait for little Jiu to grow up before he could do it. Otherwise, he really would have to hold back indefinitely. Yun Chujio felt that the atmosphere between the two of them grew even more awkward. She was afraid that Di Biming's bestial nature would overcome him, so she quickly changed the topic. Prince Charming, why were you so angry just now? Hearing Yun Chujio mention this matter, Di Biming's face darkened. Humph. You're in such a hurry to see that merman. Did you forget your birthday? Di Biming eagerly came to the Spirit Radiance sect a day earlier to look for Yun Chujio. Who would have thought that she was not at the Spirit Radiance sect at all? He could not even contact her through the voice transmission talisman. He was worried to death. Who would have thought that she would run to the chimeric ice field to see that damned merman? He was so depressed that he wanted to bang his head against the wall. My birthday. Oh my God, I've forgotten about my birthday. Yun Chujio only then remembered that she had already celebrated her 17th birthday. Humph. You must be so happy that you didn't want to go home, right? You even forgot about such a good opportunity to amass wealth. I thought that you would take the opportunity to ask for gifts from those who are indebted to you. I didn't expect that merman to be so charming that you travel all the way there. Could it be that he accompanied you on your birthday? The sour tone in Di Baiming's words was so sour that it almost made one's teeth drop. Yun Chuzhou was stunned for a moment before she finally understood why Di Baiming was so angry. It was because he was jealous of the merman. Yun Chuzhou could not help but laugh out loud. Prince Charming, are you jealous? Ha ha ha, so you have such feelings too. Ha ha ha, I, Yun Chuzhou, have finally seen the light. Di Baiming was both angry and annoyed. Don't change the topic, did you specifically go to see that merman? Sigh, Prince Charming, you misunderstood me. I went to the Sea of Stars to release the illusionary electric eel, and then I incidentally found a whirlpool. I was curious and went to investigate, but I didn't expect to be sucked into the whirlpool. After I got out of the whirlpool, I found myself in the river of the chimeric icefield. So I wanted to go and see Brother Merman. I didn't expect that the underground palace where Brother Merman was imprisoned was gone, and the 10,000-year-old snow Ganoderma had also disappeared. When Di Baiming heard Yun Chuzhi's words, he shamelessly felt a tinge of joy in his heart. Damn it! It was better that the merman had disappeared. All the better to prevent the black thing from thinking about him all the time. Sigh. Prince Charming, you didn't care about me falling into the whirlpool. Instead, you're angry at me. How can I not be sad? How can I not be angry? Do you think your jealousy is unreasonable? You didn't even give me a chance to explain. You wrongly accused me without any reason. Shouldn't you apologize to me? Yun Chuzhou looked at Di Baiming with a pitiful and aggrieved expression. Di Baiming saw Yun Chuzhi's small appearance and his heart instantly softened. Little Jiu, it's my fault this time. I definitely won't wrongly accuse you next time. Humph. I'll forgive you this time. If you do it again, I won't let you off so easily. Yun Chuzhou puffed her cheeks and said angrily. Chapter 927, Little Black Bird who was wronged and Feng and Yin regained their six senses. They saw His Excellency and Ninth Miss happily playing five-piece chess, as if the previous dispute had not existed. Moreover, His Excellency had lost more than he won. It was obvious that he was going easy on her. They saw that his eyes overflowed with affection for the one who sat across him. And Feng gave Yun Chuzhou a thumbs up in his heart. Damn, only the Ninth Miss had such ability. His Excellency was extremely furry. Even the palace mistress and palace master could not tame him. He did not expect to see His Excellency so docile in such a short time. Yun Chuzhou and Di Baiming recounted recent events while playing chess. Di Baiming said, I sent people to look for the primordial fruit, but there is still no news. If it really can't be done, I will ask the master for some marrow cleansing pills. Di Baiming was also worried about Yun Chuzhou entering Tianyuan Academy alone. It was not bad to let Feng Ming and the others enter together with her. Most importantly, the three of them did not have any romantic feelings for little Jiu. With them watching over little Jiu, it would alleviate some of his worries. When Di Baiming thought of this, he began to plan in his heart. If he had time, he would have to contact the three of them to stay in touch with each other. At that time, he could replace the current role of Enfeng. Tianyuan Academy was different from the Spirit Radiance sect. The security there was very tight, and Enfeng would not be able to sneak in. Prince Charming, that is also possible. However, your master's whereabouts are uncertain, so it is not certain when he will be able to be contacted. Moreover, I feel that the Universal Essence Cleansing Pill is more awesome. It's just a pity that I ate both of the primordial fruits back then. If only I kept just one. The most annoying thing is that the core of the primordial fruit that I buried at the corner of the wall somehow disappeared. I don't know if it turned rotten or if someone stole it, Yun Chuzhou said angrily. Miss Jiu, the core of the primordial fruit is hardy. Even if it doesn't sprout, it won't rot. Could it be that you misremembered where you planted it? And Feng came up to her and said. No, I remember it clearly. I also searched the surrounding soil, but I didn't find any traces of the core. Could it have been stolen? It shouldn't be. Others don't know that I buried the core. It's really strange. And Feng glanced at the three silly munchkins who were playing and said in a low voice, Miss Jiu, could it be that the three of them dug it out and ate it secretly? And Feng's words made sense to Yun Chujiu. The three of them were very greedy. Perhaps they dug out the fruit core and ate it, especially the little black bird, who was the prime suspect. When she buried it, it had been watching her do it. Little black bird, come here. Yun Chujiu hooked her finger at little black bird. Little black bird flew over and said, Master, are you going to give me something delicious? Yun Chujiu grabbed little black bird's short wings and said, Speak. Did you dig out the seeds of the primordial fruit and eat them? Little black bird was stunned for a moment, then he burst into tears. Wah wah, Master, you have made me so sad. I have been loyal to you. I have worked hard even though I have not contributed much. How could you slander and malign me like this? You have broken my heart. Besides, I am not a beggar. Why would I dig up fruit cores? Wah, I don't want to live anymore. I am too ashamed. I have been framed. Am a victim of injustice. Yun Chujiu touched her nose guiltily. Little black bird, I was just asking. I didn't say that you were the one who stole the food. Can't I even ask questions? Master, don't you feel guilty saying that? Why did you only ask me? You even grabbed me by my wings. You are obviously treating me as a suspect. Wah wah, I am so sad. I don't want to live anymore. Chapter 928, Master, I want to make a report, and Feng silently stepped backward. Damn, this little black bird was a copy of Miss Jiu. He was too talkative. If he knew that he was the one who did it, he would be tortured to death. Yun Chujiu coughed dryly with a guilty conscience. Alright, it's my fault this time. As compensation, we'll have some roast meat later. Little black bird wanted to continue haggling for more benefits, but he saw Di Biming's cold gaze. He was terrified. Alright, Master, you must not suspect me in the future. I'm such a good bird, why would I steal food? Especially a fruit core. Yun Chujiu nodded and let little black bird go. After little black bird was freed, he immediately flew up to the tree and cursed, Damn it, if I find out who said bad things about me in front of my master, I will not forgive him. I curse him to fall to his death. Humph. And Feng, who felt miserable, fell to the ground. After he got up, he even tried to cover it up and said, Sigh, I have been feeling dizzy for the past few days. I even fell in the middle of the day. Little black bird snorted, Humph. I won't forgive that bastard. I'll curse him at least once every day. Well, see. Yun Chujiu was secretly amused. And Feng had gotten into trouble this time. Little black bird had become vengeful. Since it was also lunchtime, Yun Chujiu prepared the roast meat. She remembered that she had not seen the fire spirit beasts for a long time, so she ran to the back of the west peak and called the 9 fire spirit beasts over. The fire spirit beasts had not seen Yun Chujiu for a long time, so they were very excited when she called them, especially the 5 little fire spirit beasts, who cutely shook their heads and wagged their tails. It was the first time that the flaming 3-tailed fox king and little black bird saw these fire spirit beasts, and they were extremely shocked. Damn, these are exotic beasts, fire spirit beasts, aren't they? It was said that it was difficult to tame even one, but the crazy master managed to tame 9. This was too crazy. Yun Chujiu let the 3 silly munchkins play with the fire spirit beasts while she and Feng roasted the meat. While Yun Chujio was roasting the meat, Little Black Bird secretly flew over. Master! Master! I want to report something. Little Black Bird said report. Yun Chujio was stunned. Report what? The Little Black Bird used its short wings to point at the little fire spirit beasts. Master, look, they keep pulling on the ground with their claws. They even eat pebbles. Maybe the core of the fruit was swallowed by them, said Little Black Bird. Yun Chujio looked in the direction that Little Black Bird was pointing at. Sure enough, the 5 little fire spirit beasts were using their claws to dig at the ground and swallow some of the stones inside. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. She had once let these fire spirit beasts play in the yard. It was possible that they had swallowed them. However, after seeing how Little Black Bird reacted when he was wrongly accused, Yun Chujio was more tactful this time. She walked to the side of the little fire spirit beasts and asked, "Do you eat the stones you find too?" A soft child's voice responded, "Yes, we like to eat stones, but Master, your food is even better. Master wants to ask you, have you seen a fruit core here? There are very deep patterns on it, and it's brown in color." Before Yun Chujio could finish, one of the small fire spirit beasts said, "I've seen it, I've seen it. That fruit core is very strange. My strong stomach couldn't digest it. It's in our cave, and it even sprouted." Yun Chujio was so elated that she almost jumped. She tried hard to suppress her excitement. "Is what you said true? It sprouted? Isn't the temperature in your cave very high? You can't see the sun from inside too, so how did it sprout?" Chapter 929, The Sapling of the Primordial Tree. That's right. We were also puzzled, but it still sprouted nonetheless. The leaves that have grown out are still fiery red. They look like us. The little fire spirit beast said proudly. Yun Chujio pounced to Deep Biming's side and asked with a trembling voice, "Prince Charming, what color are the leaves of the primordial fruit?" Deep Biming thought for a moment and said, "I haven't seen it before, but it is said that the leaves of the primordial tree are special. They are fiery red." Yun Chujio immediately laughed out loud, "Ha ha ha. Those who are blessed are truly fortunate. My prince, the primordial fruit has been found, ha ha ha." Yun Chujio's laughter gave everyone and the other beasts a fright. Has this fellow gone mad? Little Jiu, Little Jiu. Di Biming called out a few times. Yun Chujio, who was in a state of ecstasy, finally calmed down a little. Prince Charming, the seed of the primordial fruit was eaten by the little fire spirit beast. It actually. Hee hee. It actually germinated in their cave. Yun Chujio said excitedly. Di Biming was also surprised. This was too much of a coincidence. No one had ever known how the seeds of the primordial tree germinated. He did not expect that it needed to be swallowed by a fire spirit beast before it could germinate. No wonder the primordial tree was so rare. The seeds of the primordial tree were already rare enough. Add to it the rarity of finding a fire spirit beast. The chances of putting the two together and getting a fire spirit beast to swallow the seeds of the primordial tree would be even smaller. He did not expect that the conditions would be met by the black thing. Yun Chujio tried hard to suppress her excitement. She did not even eat a single mouthful of the roasted meat. She took out a bunch of other things from her storage ring and fed them to the fire spirit beast. Then, she anxiously asked them to bring her to see the primordial tree. When they arrived at the earth and fire cave, Yun Chujio muttered, "Wouldn't it be a pity if all the earth and fire was extinguished? I didn't expect the fire spirit beasts to tell me that they could make the extinguished earth and fire and then rekindle it." Yun Chujio clicked her tongue in wonder. No wonder the fire spirit beasts were called exotic beasts. There was indeed something unusual about them. After the 4 big fire spirit beasts extinguished the earthen fire, the 4 of them entered the depths of the earthen fire cave. As expected, they found a fiery red sapling in a corner. Not only were the leaves fiery red, but even the stem was also fiery red. The leaves flickered with a ruby-like luster. At a glance, it was obvious that it was not an ordinary spiritual plant. Yun Chuzhou jumped with joy. No matter how she looked at it, things had worked out in her favor. When she thought of the fresh and sweet taste of the primordial fruit, she almost drooled. However, Di Biming frowned and said, "Little Jiu, don't you need the primordial fruit to refine the universal essence cleansing pill? Even if you have this primordial tree, it's useless." Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, "Hee, my Prince Charming, I have a secret weapon. Watch carefully." Di Biming was puzzled. Secret weapon? No matter what secret weapon you have, this little sapling can't possibly bear any primordial fruit, right? It was said that the primordial tree would bloom once every 1,000 years, bear fruit once every 1,000 years, ripen once every 1,000 years. That's a total of 3,000 years worth of waiting. We'd be nothing but bones in the ground by then. An Feng and An Yin shook their heads secretly. Although Miss Chiu was always able to do things that surprised us, she was probably in over her head this time. While she was extremely capable, it was also impossible for the young sapling to bear any primordial fruit at that time. Yun Chuzhou first activated the isolation array to prevent any spiritual energy from leaking out. Once such a spiritual fruit has matured, it would definitely emit a strange fragrance. It was better to not cause any unnecessary problems. After Yun Chuzhou was ready, then, she used her spiritual sense to say to the strange grass in a pleading manner, "Strange grass, it's time for you to show off your skills. Give Master a few drops of the juice that can accelerate the growth of medicinal herbs. Don't worry, Master will not take it for free. Once the universal essence cleansing pill is refined, I will feed one to you as a reward." Chapter 930, Ripening of Flowers and Fruits. After weighing the pros and cons, the strange grass painfully condensed a few drops of crystal-clear liquid from its leaves. Yun Chuzhou opened her palm and the liquid fell onto her hand. She carefully dripped the liquid onto the small sapling of the primordial tree. Then, what happened next was that An Feng would never forget throughout his entire life. The sapling of the primordial tree actually grew thicker and taller at a speed visible to the naked eye. Then, 5 snow-white flowers bloomed. Under the contrast of the fiery red leaves and branches, the 5 snow-white flowers grew even whiter. After another hour, the flowers gradually withered, and in their place was fruit. However, the fruit stopped growing when it grew to the size of a fingernail. Yun Chuzhou touched her chin, probably because the few drops of liquid had been used up. She could only ask the strange grass for a few more drops of liquid, and after the drops fell on the tree, the primordial fruit continued to grow. After a while, a strange fragrance filled the entire cave. The primordial fruit had matured. The strange grass pitifully took credit for the primordial fruit's explosive growth despite the cost to its own vitality. It had already managed to grow 6 leaves, yet now, 3 of the leaves had wilted. Yun Chuzhou comforted it. She could not wait to put the 5 primordial fruits into the jade chest. Di Biming and the other 2 were dumbfounded. They had never dreamed that what just happened in front of them was possible. That was a primordial fruit tree. How could a few drops of liquid speed up the process of blooming and bearing fruit that took thousands of years in just 4 hours? This was too unbelievable. Prince Charming, do you think this primordial fruit tree can only grow in the homes of the fire spirit beast? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. She felt that 5 fruits were too little. They were not enough to even fill the gaps between her teeth. Because the primordial tree is very rare, there are very few records about it. Since this primordial tree grew in this earthen fire hole, I'm afraid that it needs high temperatures to grow. You'd better not move it. Di Biming came back to his senses and replied. I'm not moving this primordial tree. I'm planning to plant a few more. When that time comes, I can eat primordial fruit every day. Yun Chuzhou swallowed her saliva and said. The strange grass in her dantian almost twitched. You heartless woman. Eat it every day. It almost took my life just growing one. I still need time to recover, and you're now talking about eating it every day. Are you trying to kill me? The corner of Di Biming's eyes twitched. Little Jiu, although I don't know how you did it, I'm afraid this method can't be used too often, right? Yun Chuzhou giggled. I'm talking about the future. If the worst comes to worst, they'll just wait for 3,000 years. A freak like me will probably live for millions of years, right? Anfeng staggered. Miss Jiu was really daring. Millions of years? Do you think you're a god? Besides, gods had long been extinct. There was no such possibility. Yun Chuzhou left a lot of food for the fire spirit beasts before exiting the earthen fire cave. When they stepped out, the earthen fire of the earthen fire cave started burning again. Yun Chuzhou hurried back to her small courtyard. After deactivating the isolation array, she took out the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace to refine the Universal Essence Cleansing Pill. It had to be said that Yun Chuzhou accidentally left out an important item in her handbook. The Universal Essence Cleansing Pill's grade was too high, so she used an ordinary alchemy furnace. It would definitely explode. Yun Chuzhou was about to begin, but after thinking about it, she still hesitated. To refine such a high-end pill, it would not be good to use regular flintstones. She needed to use the earthen fire. Hence, she hurriedly ran outside the earthen fire cave and called the number 1 and number 2 fire spirit beasts over. After she got them to produce some earthen fire, she started to refine the pill. Chapter 931. Even the Wu Yun flirted with her. Yun Chuzhou started to refine the Universal Essence Cleansing Pill according to the manual. Di Biming, Anfeng, and An Yin were all worried for her. Although the Universal Essence Cleansing Pill did not specify what grade it was, it used the primordial fruit, which meant it was probably at least grade 12 and above. Yun Chuzhou was only at the 8th level of the Spirit Emperor realm. That meant her skills were not enough to refine something at grade 12. She only hoped that her lightning spiritual power and the tool spirit of the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace could make up for it. Yun Chuzhou was not very confident. However, she was bold enough to still try. In addition, there were 5 primordial fruits in the storage ring, so she had a chance to start over. She would not let go of the chance to refine it. With the first batch, Yun Chuzhou did not dare to change anything. She strictly followed the process described in the pill formula. An hour later, Yun Chuzhou was done. Everyone's heart sank. There was no fragrance spreading out. It was probably a failure. Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth and opened the lid of the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace. 6 pills were lay inside. There were no patterns on the pills, and no one could tell what grade they were. Yun Chuzhou took out one, chewed it, and swallowed it. Anfeng cursed in his heart. In this world, only Miss Jiu dared to stuff anything into her mouth. Anyway, she could not be poisoned to death. He just did not know if this pill was considered a success. After Yun Chuzhou finished eating, she did not feel any side effects. Instead, she felt much better. It was fine as long as there were no side effects. Yun Chuzhou put away the remaining 5 pills and continued to refine the second batch. When the second batch was refined, Yun Chuzhou was not as conservative. Following the increase and decrease of the tool spirit's mood in her divine sense, she increased and decreased the medicinal herbs. After nearly an hour, the small courtyard was filled with a medicinal fragrance. Anfeng took a few deep breaths. Just the smell of this fragrance was enough to make people excited. It was indescribably comfortable. This time, it was a success. The 9th miss was a god. If there was an extra pill, he would also try to get one. Although he was over the age limit, he was still a pure young man. Perhaps it would still have an effect even if he ate it. After Yun Chujio opened the heaven and earth universal furnace, an even stronger medicinal fragrance spread out. Everyone looked inside and saw 10 pills with golden patterns lying at the bottom of the furnace. Those were the coveted heaven-grade universal essence cleansing pills. Yun Chujio smiled so happily that her eyelashes bloomed. 1 pill was enough for 1 person and now I have 10. It was better for me to keep the remaining 3 primordial fruits. Perhaps I would need them in the future. Just when Yun Chujio was happy, she saw a dark cloud floating in the sky. It must be the heavens coming to check out the source of the medicinal fragrance. Yun Chujio was afraid that it would destroy her yard, so she ran to the back of the mountain in a hurry. She ran to the back of the mountain and looked up. She grinned. The Wu Yun who came this time was an old acquaintance. It was the dark cloud that helped her to destroy the fake League Master of the League of Assassins. Little Wu Yun, long time no see. Yun Chujio stretched out her hands and greeted the Wu Yun. Anfeng noticed that the piece of Wu Yun had turned light pink. It was actually blushing. Damn! Why are you blushing? Miss Jiu, that's enough. You even flirt with clouds. Little Wu Yun, you're here to strike me with lightning, right? Come on, just do it. I can replenish some of my spiritual power. Yun Chujio took out a handkerchief to wrap her hair and said with a smile. When the Wu Yun in the sky heard Yun Chujio's words, they struck Yun Chujio for a while. Those heavenly lightning bolts felt like raindrops to Yun Chujio. Did she grow too powerful? Chapter 932, Reuse, Recycle. Wu Yun was almost done, so it stopped. Little Wu Yun, you did well. If only all the Wu Yun were as outstanding as you. See you later. Yun Chujio waved her hands at the Wu Yun in the sky. The Wu Yun in the sky turned a pale pink again and bobbed away. Anfeng was speechless. Could it be that in the future, the 9th miss would not only take in spirit beasts but also that Wu Yun? Yun Chujio hopped back to the courtyard and counted with her fingers. The Yun siblings, Qing Si, and Feng Ming made a total of 9 people. If she gave one more to the strange grass, it would be exactly 10 pieces. Anfeng heard Yun Chujio mumbling, and he was extremely disappointed. There was none left for him at all. As expected, older people were discriminated against. Anfeng did not expect that Yun Chujio would put the 5 pills from the first batch and some spirit medicinal liquid that could not be refined into pills into the heaven and earth universal furnace again. Miss Jiu, what are you doing? Yun Chujio giggled. Refining it. I'm trying to see if I can salvage it. If I can give one each to Prince Charming, you and Anine. Anfeng felt that Yun Chujio was very loyal, but he was not sure. He had never heard that a failed pill could be refined again. Was this a reliable way to do it? Di Biming and Anine also felt that it was hopeless. Anyway, they had already succeeded in refining one batch. If she was willing to experiment around with the initial failed one, so be it. Yun Chujio was not confident. Her thoughts were the same as Di Biming and the others. Anyway, it was a waste not to try. Even if she failed, it would not be a pity. She first dissolved the 5 pills into a medicinal liquid, then took out a pen and paper to write down some notes. Then, she began to refine. Yun Chujio added the medicinal herbs according to the calculated amount. The refining process was much slower than before. 2 hours later, the courtyard began to emit a medicinal fragrance. It was actually even stronger than the previous time. Di Biming and the other two were dumbfounded. Could it be that it worked? After Yun Chuzhou finished refining, she nervously opened the Heaven and Earth Universal Furnace's lid. Immediately, a refreshing medicinal fragrance jumped into everyone's nostrils. Just by smelling this smell, it could be determined that the quality of the pills must be better than the previous ones. The three of them quickly went to the side of the furnace and looked inside. They saw 9 round pills lying at the bottom of the furnace. The golden patterns on them were even more eye-catching than the previous 10 pills. Miss Jiu, something's wrong. Didn't you put 5 pills in? Why are there now 9 pills? An Feng exclaimed. It's very simple. Didn't I add more herbs into it? According to the law of conservation of mass, it should have resulted in a few more pills. Yun Chuzhou regretted eating one just now. That way, there would be 10 pills. Yun Chuzhou took out one, looked at it, then smelled it. It should be fine, right? She threw the pill in his hand into her mouth. Before she could eat it, it was snatched away by the strange grass. The strange grass was greedy and clamored to eat it. Yun Chuzhou had the principle that if she wanted a cow to work, she had to feed it accordingly. Her heart ached as she fed the strange grass another pill. After the strange grass finished eating it, it clamored for more. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes and said, "Don't worry. I'll leave 2 pills for you. I'll feed them to you when if perform well in the future." When the strange grass heard Yun Chuzhou say this, it could only reluctantly agree. Yun Chuzhou was still worried about the medicinal efficacy of the pill. She was afraid that there was poison in it, so after warning the strange grass, she swallowed one herself. After eating it, she only felt that her body had become much lighter. There was no poison or strange side effects, so she felt relieved. Chapter 933, Prince Charming was causing trouble. Yun Chuzhou gave one of the pills that she refined to Di Biming. Prince Charming, although the purity of your spirit root should have already reached 9 stars, it's not bad to further nourish it. Di Biming nodded, took the pill, and threw it into his mouth. Little madman, come here, this is yours. This is an Eames. Yun Chuzhou took out 2 more Universal Essence cleansing pills and handed them to An Feng and An Yin. An Feng and An Yin also swallowed the pills. After the 3 of them swallowed the pills, they did not feel any reaction. They thought to themselves, could it be that these pills were just placebos? Why was there no reaction at all? A quarter of an hour later, An Feng let out a strange cry and rushed to the toilet. Immediately after, An Yin also rushed in with a stiff expression. Yun Chuzhou was done for. Did she turn the Universal Essence cleansing pill into a laxative? Yun Chuzhou looked at Di Biming and asked timidly, Prince Charming, are you all right? Di Biming frowned, my body feels a little greasy. I want to take a bath, don't come in. Prince Charming, it's fine if I don't go in, but do you have a bathtub in your storage ring? Do you have any bath water? Yun Chuzhou pouted. She sounded like a pervert, it's not like she wants to peek. Di Biming's face stiffened. No. Then it's settled. I have to go in and prepare it for you. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you in broad daylight. Yun Chuzhou said slyly. Her tone was like that of a ruffian who was teasing a good woman. Di Biming raised his eyebrows. Little Jiu, I advise you not to act rashly. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that it'll wait for you to grow up. Humph. Who are you trying to scare? When the time comes, we might not even be able to settle the matter between us. Although Yun Chuzhou was already terrified in her heart, she did not want to lose. She went into the house dejectedly to prepare the bath water. Di Biming curled his lips and followed her into the house. Yun Chuzhou was like a hard-working little bee. She helped Di Biming prepare the bath water and then left the house dejectedly. This fellow sat on the stone chair and pondered. It was probably due to the different amounts of impurities in his body that his reaction was different. The gigolo's spirit root was very high, so the impurities could be excreted through sweat. On the other hand, an Feng and an Yin had too many impurities, that was why his reaction was so big. Therefore, the universal essence cleansing pill that she refined should be effective. An Feng and an Yin only returned after a full 2 hours. Although their faces were slightly pale, they were very excited. Miss Jiu, I feel that the speed at which I absorb spiritual qi has become much faster. This pill of yours can indeed increase the level of my spirit root, An Feng said excitedly. An Yin was not good with words. She just bowed to Yun Chuzhou and said, "Thank you, Miss Jiu." Yun Chuzhou waved her hand and said, "We are all family. There's no need to thank us. However, my idol has been washing for 2 hours. Why isn't he coming out? My idol? My idol? Why aren't you done washing? Do you need me to go in and help? The water is already cold, right? Shall I go in and add some hot water for you?" Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes and shouted with ill intentions. Di Baiming's deep voice came from inside the room, "No need." However, after waiting for a while, Di Baiming still did not come out. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Something was wrong. The gigolo must be causing trouble. "Prince Charming, if you don't come out now, I will rush in." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.